What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, the podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the college football podcast, the Underdog Union. Ryan, I don't know about you, but before we end this, we thought the heat was going. The relentless heat wave over here in the UK really started to grind me down at this point. I'm actually probably looking forward to college football season now, so I can deliberately stay up at night and not try to have to pretend to sleep. It can't come quick enough.
Yeah, like I say, college football season is pretty much winter in the UK, and it's long dark nights, and I love it watching football. So the quicker the football gets here, the quicker the sun buggers off, and I can go back to being a recluse.
Absolutely, indeed. So, I hope you are all doing well. See, Mile Marker is in the building. See, Brent DeWitt is in the building. Brent says, prayers for all affected in Texas. Experienced a flash flood in later Philadelphia in 22, but 27 inches of water in 40 minutes is biblical. Yeah, that was absolutely terrible.
Like, scary stuff.
It's crazy, like 40 foot of movement and stuff. You know, it's absolutely crazy what's gone over there, but it's obviously horrific. And the worst part is, I think it's really dry out there, so when the rain comes down, it just moves across the ground and it rises even quicker. It's like the worst thing to do when it's bone dry for it to then just absolutely hammer it down. But yeah, absolutely. Anyone's been affected by that, obviously thoughts and prayers for everyone. It is absolutely horrible. Malbucker goes, hope people are staying hydrated over there in the UK, guys. Seems it's been a long... It's been months. It's been about 3 months and we're about to move into a weekend where we're at 30 degrees every single day. I think that's like 90 or something over there where you are, but for us, that is a lot, so it's crazy. Grandizer is in the building as well. Not seen you in a while, Grandizer. Hope you're well. He goes, highly ho, lads. Yeah, we're all good. Hope you are good down there, Grandizer. So yeah, today, the Underdog Union. So people may be wondering what that is. Myself and Ryan, obviously, if you followed this podcast for any amount of time, you know that we are champions of the underdogs. We love our small schools. We love our FCS players. We love guys who are not given the spotlight by national media when it comes to draft prospects and whether these guys are going to declare or not. And I thought we're going to do something official as the season goes along. So this year on this, obviously, we tell you about a lot of small school guys. We don't necessarily keep you updated on them as the season goes. So the Underdog Union is going to be something where we focus on the small school guys who need more attention, who need more love, and this is their little forum for them to get everything, while all the big heads can talk about all the possible round one draft picks and that this year. So this is going to be a feature going forward. So today we are going to be taking a look at prospects from the Group of 5 level, the FCS level, and we are doing the Power 5 level. We also figure like underdogs, you know, your Rutgers, your Northwesterns, your small teams in the Power 5 where the prospects don't really get a lot of love either. They are involved in this. So we're going to introduce you to some prospects from each of the levels who we want you to look at this year in terms of maybe being a draft prospect next year who is just flying completely under the radar because of where we're at. So we are really going to hammer nail and tongs at that this year. We got a little bit of news to go through as well, and we're going to do some recapping from media days. They've started so far. The Big 12 have done their media days, or a few of them. The SEC have started theirs. So going to go through a few of the storylines originating out of those media days so far. So we've got a lot on the slate today. Doug Hill is in the chat as well. Hope you are doing well, Doug. Thanks for joining. Just apologise in advance. This hot weather here is messing with all the electricals in the system, so if the stream does go down, I apologise. I've nothing I can really do about this, and I don't have Matt as a backup to run a stream for me at the minute, so I'm praying everything goes well this evening. We have a nice, smooth ride. Let's just get all the housekeeping out of the way first. Roar of the Lions UK Discord. If you want in on that, let us know. We'll fire you across a link. The main podcast, me and Ash talked about Lions free agency in 2026, the guys who are out of contract and potentially guys who we'd like to see coming as well. If you've not checked that out yet, please don't do so. Thought that was quite a fun show. Don't forget to like and sub to everything, including LNU, which we are a part of. We're an affiliate on Twitch, monetized on YouTube. We've got a tip jar. You want to help that way, great. But we just love having you in the building to talk ball. First and foremost, we've got the feedback form as well, so anything you want to mention about the shows, we will take that on board. Right, let's get right down into it. And there's one little bit of news I wanted to go through first. So NIL, like conference realignment is just something that you can't go a week without talking about, it seems, in this profession at the minute. I don't know whether we really discussed it on this pod, but there have been big changes to NIL recently. It was the House versus NCAA bill that went through, and effectively what has happened before, where teams had NIL boosters and NIL funds to be able to pay players on these deals as part of the rev share and everything. That's now changed. A new settlement was signed where schools are now permitted to spend $20.5 million annually across all sports, including, through expanded scholarships, direct payments of players as well, which is going to be like the new NIL bit here. Obviously, football's going to appropriate a lot of that money for each team, and everyone gets the same budget, regardless of whether they can actually afford it or not. You're not allowed to go over the $20.5 million threshold. That is now in effect, and obviously this rise is going to bring ahead a new problem for some college football teams, because obviously you're now paying players directly, which is great, you can get them, but you've got to pay them, and you've got to pay them against your budgets, and we're starting to see the first little ripplings of what's going to happen here. It was actually Michigan. The Wolverines announced the other day that they are going to have an expected $27 million deficit in their budget this year. They're going to be cutting staff, they're going to be cutting other expenditures such as the amount they spend on travel expenses, etc. This is going to be a byproduct of having to pay your players more money going forward. It's, obviously I guess it's maybe a good idea that they all have to spend the same, but like you say, it's going to put pressure on some of these teams to then cut elsewhere to be able to do so. But this is the new phase of NIL. You're allowed to play your players direct now instead of using the NIL collective. But as we've already seen, it's starting to have an effect on teams already.
Only problem is, though, it's just an NFL salary cap almost, and we've seen teams like the Saints and just flaunting it for years with very little punishment. What will happen if they spend $21 million, $22 million? What will be the punishment? Do we have financial fair play to review their in-going out? You're going to have like yearly accountants producing reports to show, look, we didn't spend it all. So, yeah, I like the fact it's we pay the player straight away, because then that whole UNLV issue with Matt Sluka probably wouldn't have happened, where he felt like he'd been diddled and they were cutting back, or they weren't giving him what he promised, because then now you would have a legitimate case to say they're not paying me what we agreed in the deal. There's no middlemen, like say that will kind of iron out those issues. But yeah, if you're a team that's already made contractual commitments in the last year or so, and you've got players like Bryce Underwood who are reported are worth, $9 million over a couple of years, how do you structure it? Like you say, do you pay it all in one go? Do you just give them like loads of it now and then say, look, over the next couple of years, if you stay on the roster, we'll give you the rest? I suppose, does it give you a levy to, spread it out? Yeah, like I said, it's just a word, as you say, it's going to cost people their jobs. So what, staff on, let's say, an equipment manager on a measly $100,000, will he be released to pay some 4-star kicker? Because you promised him you'll give him $1.5 million to sign. So, yeah, big decisions got to be made, but it feels like it's going to cause a lot of new problems going forward.
And it's also going to start causing shadier issues, I believe, as well. I can't believe I didn't actually tab on this at the time, but I don't know if you've seen Florida State, their new contracts and the way they work, the detailing of that has been released, and this is a rarity there. But have you seen, under the terms of their contracts for their players, if a player gets hurt, they are going to be charged with breach of contract, and have money taken off them because they're not on the field representing. And this may be, we're talking about ways teams are going to find money. It is. I've seen it myself. Their terms, you can be done for breach of contract if you get hurt with a football related injury because you're not playing for them. And that's how they're going to do their contracts as it stands. There's been a lot of backlash to it, but they're sticking to their guns. These are sort of the practices that can arise from these issues, and I think that's completely unfair on the players. Players can't help if they get hurt or not, and if they get hurt seriously, they're out for a year or so, taking all their money off them.
A lot of footballers going to FSU. I would not sign that contract.
Yeah, I can't believe I missed that. I can't believe there wasn't a big rumor at the time. But
to the first round draft pick, if you get hurt, we will take back your signing bonus.
Isn't that what the Bengals are doing, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, this is Shamar Turner. This is the language he doesn't like. He won't sign the contract, and I respect that.
Yeah.
If they're trying to diddle him about out of future guarantees, where if there's a holdout, if there's an injury, IR stints, like say if you get on NFI with a non-football injury, like say they try clawback guarantees, and he said no, I won't sign it. I don't like it. So. Yeah, we're entering a very murky, grey territory for college football, and I don't like it.
No, I don't know if any other teams are going to follow suit with what Florida State have done, but again, I don't know how they can get, but I guess they can say I guess it's over here. If you're working a job over here and you're ill and you can't work, to give you statutory sick pay and you don't get your full wage, and I guess it's put under that, but at the same time, that feels very cheeky, given what they do. And but yeah, this NIL thing, there's gonna be a lot more that goes on with this in the next year as we find out sort of the repercussions of what happens and what teams try to do to get around it. Doug goes, yes, UM and other big time schools are going to face budget crunches department wide, because this is all sports. This is your budget for all sports. This is your basketball. Like if you're a big basketball school, you're going to put a lot to
schools are going to
prioritize,
like Duke.
Yeah.
They're going to fill their basketball team.
Yeah, and
Villanova will go basketball.
Yeah, and it depends how much you get paid in other sports and that.
Because like I say, you ain't going to be able to manage both.
No. So it's going to be very interesting. But yeah, some iffy practices and already some bits coming up there. But that is the latest going on with NIL. Brent goes, what the fuck, crazy, these kids are putting their bodies on the line, totally disrespectful. Yeah, I believe that is disrespectful. Like, if you agree to pay them, fine. Maybe have a thing where if you pay them, 3 years, like, you can cut them, essentially, I guess. If you pay them a set amount a year, if they can't play the next year because of injury, maybe something like that. But don't just take the kid's money away because he can't play because he's hurt on a field. And, so many of these kids do get hurt as well. I just wouldn't be able to fathom that happening. Anywho, let's move this on, and what will we do first? Let's go quickly onto the media day stuff, and then we'll move down onto the prospects. So I'll just do the Big 12. So obviously media days have been happening. The Big 12s have been going on over the last couple of days now, and just some tidbits that have been coming out, because sometimes you do get little bits out of here. So the Big 12 have been doing theirs. Brett Yormark, the AD for the Big 12, he's been talking about the 11-5, the 5-11 system for the playoffs. Obviously, the new expanded 16-team college football playoffs. It's not decided how they're going to be done yet. We told you about the SEC and the Big 10 wanting 4 guaranteed spots for each conference because they claim they are the biggest, etc. But Brett Yormark has rightly said that the Big 12 is probably the deepest conference in the power at the minute in terms of competitiveness of teams. He wants a 5-11 system where you get 4 at-large bids for the winners of your top 4 conferences, maybe the pack if you get it at the minute, and then obviously your group of 5 champion as well, and then all the other 11 spots are at large, as opposed to it all just go into the SEC and the Big 10. I suppose this is just simple, really, right? I agree with him. I don't think there should be set amounts, because conferences wane and rise. Sometimes they're bad in years, sometimes they're good in years. On bad years, you don't want to send 4 teams from a bad Big 10 if it's just Michigan and Ohio State being good, and vice versa. If you've only got a good Georgia and Bama team in the SEC, you don't want to be spending 4 teams there. And he's right. The Big 12 deserved to have 2 teams in there last year and not be worked out. I agree with what he's saying.
Yeah, you can make a strong case last year that should let's say a second place Big 12 team have gone over, let's say, Indiana, let's say something like that, where you can make a case where there are teams where there are years where it should be flexible. If a conference has a really good year, they get more bids. If a team has a down year, then they don't. We don't want tripe Like I said, we don't want bad teams. We don't want a 9-3 or an 8-4 team scraping through with an, like I say, an at-large bid just because you've given so many to a conference.
Yeah, absolutely agree with him. Other bits, Matt Campbell talking about his Iowa State team mentioned that his pretty much all of the top 20 players on his roster have declined pay rises elsewhere through NIL deals. Obviously, he termed it all his players have taken a pay cut. What he meant by that was they took a pay cut by not taking a bigger deal elsewhere. They haven't changed in terms of what they're doing, but just goes to show that even though, it is the era of NIL, you can pay teams more. There are some teams, and we'll talk about more later with some of these prospects, where they're building a culture where they are able to hang on to these top players. And, if you're an Iowa State player especially, you're a really good team there now. I expect them to challenge for the Big 12 again this year. You've got a great head coach. You're in a great situation. It's great to kind of hear stories like this where the teams are sticking fire with one another. They're sticking together. They're not letting these deals ruin them just for a little bit of extra money elsewhere. And it's just shows to build the culture that Matt Campbell's built at Iowa State, that these guys don't want to leave and that they want to stay and play for him.
Yeah, I mean, earning money right now for a lot of these guys, it shouldn't be the priority. Because if you stick at a good team that suits you in a good system and you play well, you should earn plenty of money later on when you go pro. So I won't cut my nose to spite my face now, get the big transfer, take the big bag now. Next thing you know, you're a bit of a squad player, or maybe you're a rotational piece, and then you find yourself quickly falling out of the eyes of the nation in the draft cycle. You slide. Like I say, next thing you know, you're getting like day 3 money. Like I say, where you've lost out because you took a little bit now. So yeah, like I said, implore a lot of these guys to think who's going to put them in the best position to get the most guaranteed money when they do enter a draft cycle or go for like a UDFA.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to see they've stuck together, got high hopes for Iowa State this year. Other bits that were said on day one, Scott Frost said the biggest lesson he learnt from his time at Nebraska was that you've got to take the right...
That one, it did not come across well.
No, you've got to take the right job, not the wrong job, and he described taking the Nebraska job as the wrong job. He's back at UCF, but Nebraska fans did not like him for that one, suggesting that maybe they were not a good option for him to go to there, and it was maybe their fault more so than his. Kalen Sataki would refuse to say anything about Jake Retzlaff. He's still not officially transferred away from BYU just yet with everything that's going on with him, so, probably, quite expected that he wouldn't say anything about that. Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati reckons he's got the best team he's ever had in his tenure there so far. Needless to say, they've gone 4-14 in the Big 12 under the 2 years with him. They're 8-16 altogether. Feels like a big year for him. He's got to have a winning year this year, otherwise he's going to be in a lot of bother. And then the last one on day one was Kenny Dillingham, right, talking about going from the hunter to being the hunted, which seems to be... It is going to be the storyline for Arizona State this year. Last year, the botched preseason rankings where they were bottom of the conference. Teams seem to look at that, completely write them off, underestimate them, and they were there to be had and proven wrong. Now, most of your teams returning, the vast majority, a couple of good transfers in to replace a couple of guys who's gone. Like, the bullseye, more than anyone else in the Big 12, is on your back this year, and it's going to be the mentality change. Can they deal with the team that's going to get shot at rather than the team that's doing the shooting?
Yeah, most cases, more often than not, it's easy to play. When there's no weight of expectation on you, usually, like I say, the pressure's a little bit off. Sometimes you can relax, and when you relax, you play your best stuff. And then when suddenly things are going well, eyes are looking at you, teams are circling on your calendar, like say you turn up on a game day and yeah, people are thinking when they expect you to win. Like I say, you're expected to win the games, and the games where you're the heavy favourite can usually be the biggest banana skins. And now, like I say, a good playoff run, like I say, they showed the media to be silly. Like I say, loads of fans. Like I say, some Devils are all over the pre-season on all conference team. Like I say, they've got a massive amount of Sun Devils. I'm looking at the list now. So they've gone from being, like I say, bottom of the food chain to top dog. But there's a lot of mouths to feed in the Big 12. So yeah, and usually staying there once you get there. is very hard. There are a lot of most teams don't go back to back, not in conferences. No, it's just one of those where pressure, yeah, it builds. Pressure is a good thing, but it can also be a detriment. It can make life more difficult.
Yeah, like, you could win that conference with 7 wins, 8 wins. They could take wins off one another. There probably will be regression.
Well, it's one of those things where the better the team you are, the harder it is to keep players, the harder it is to keep your staff.
Yeah.
Because unless you can pay them, everyone knows how good they are. Like, look at Sean Aguayo. Everyone that runs a good running back room or the top running teams in the nation, they'll be looking at him. He's one of the best coaches in the country. He's produced, like, say, a conveyor belt of NFL ready NFL running backs. Like, the guy's doing something right. There's only so long you can keep him in the building before someone says, here's a blank check. Here's a house for you and your wife and your kids. Like, we want you to move to Ohio.
Yeah.
We want you to move to Ann Arbor. Like I say, eventually it's going to be too hard to turn down.
Yeah. I could see where he could end up in Michigan.
Kenny Dillingham is destined to, like say, get the biggest jobs in football.
Yeah.
Even though Leeds, crimson and yellow, like, it won't always be enough.
No, someone, the NFL will come calling eventually. You figure at least
like
there's a position.
An NFL, like say, as an assistant or an offensive coordinator, like say, assistant coach, the big jobs, like say, like the Cardinals wanted to stay in, like say, in Arizona. So there are jobs out there, yeah. So it's one of those where you just enjoy it while it's there. While you're on top, you got to make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the future coaches on day 2 also, Kyle Whittingham, Utah head coach, talked to the media. He made maybe not the surprising realization, but he spent 30 years in Salt Lake City now. He's been the head coach for 20 years in Utah, and I think we can all agree he's done an absolutely tremendous job there. And people know he's been contemplating retirement for some time, but he mentioned that last year got so bad for Utah, he felt he couldn't. Like, it was, and it wasn't a good year for them. Obviously, they've had quarterback problems for a little while now with Cam Rising and everything, but he said he couldn't retire on such a sour note there. So potentially, if they do get back to their winning ways this year and they have a good team, I don't know what record would convince him to, but it seems that sooner rather than later he will be done at this point, and he'll leave behind one hell of a legacy behind him. And with 2 of the best tackles in football this year, with Devin Dampier as his new quarterback, who is going to be absolutely tremendous in the Big 12. We might be about to see the one last hurrah of Kyle Whittingham.
I hope so, because I think he should have called it a day. I think last year or 2, I think he should have given someone another go. I think it's a team, like I said, that's got injection talent, but I think it needs some fresh ideas. I just watch them sometimes, and I think offensively, they're stale. Like I said, the offensive coordinator, like I said, coach, like I said, last few years, it's not been great. Yes, injuries, but yeah, the lack of depth, the lack of preparation they put for depth. Like I said, defensively, they've been stalwarts for years. Like I said, Utah, it's kind of been their bread and butter. Yeah, I feel like whatever happens this year, I feel like maybe it's time. But like I said, it's a big job. They shouldn't have any issue filling it.
Oh, no.
I'd like to go with an outside hire and bring in, like I say, some fresh ideas, because it's a big program, like I say, but it ain't competitive, and it should be in this era of Big 12 football. At some point, they're going to have to get back in those where they were, like I say, fighting, contending to get in towards the playoffs.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it was a great system. Obviously, the back-to-back Pac-12 titles showed how good it worked, but like you say, now it feels like it just needs a bit of rejuvenation, a bit of an uptick in what it does. But hell, they got one of the best quarterbacks they've had in a long time there now. So I look forward to seeing what he can do.
I was never enamoured with Cam, just purely because, like I said, lack of availability. I would have moved on a lot sooner.
I think the injuries ruined
him. Got a lot of loyalty to him.
The injury the year after the second Pac title was the one that really did him in. Like, he just wasn't the same after that. And
I'm not that sentimental, like I say, because when he came back, he didn't look good.
Yeah, and then you had the whole Zach Wilson's younger brother problem and all that. It never worked.
I hope Devin comes in and helps him, because like I say, it's not been pleasant to watch.
No, we're going to hear about Devin a little later. And then talking about other QBs and other teams that had disasters last year, and I didn't realise, but at Arizona, they were not happy last year, especially with their new head coach Brent Brennan. That was his first year. They went 4-8. They went.
I'm sure I made a preseason prediction, like say he'll be like top 10 in Heisman voting, because he was so good as a freshman. Yeah, It was terrible.
Yeah.
It all went wrong.
So there's been a massive storm over Arizona since the end. Like, the fans already wanted Brennan out after a year, and then Noah Fafita, everyone said he was going to leave because the program was a mess. But he's promptly shut those two down. He said no one never asked to leave or showed any emphasis to leave, and that he is going to carry on doing the job he's doing there. I mean, it was a very bad year for them. Like, they were sort of on top of you guys, and then they've regressed. But I mean, it's first year of a new head coach. Maybe the stories of their demise were a little too soon, but there's no doubt they've got to have a big bounce back year this year if he wants to let these rumours go away. Because if they have another 4-8 year again, then you kind of feel like he will be out by peer pressure. Like, he won't survive another one of those. And if he loses the Territorial Cup again.
Exactly. And when you look over the fence at your neighbour's lovely green grass because they've won a title, it just makes it compounds the misery, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think.
And now you've got to do, like, say, Tet's gone. Like, saying, like, that's a huge ask to replace Tory McMillan. That will not be easy.
Yeah, you got Savanair on the offensive line. You've got Krosky Merritt, never played.
Some huge losses to the gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you got a lot there. And then the other bit that was mentioned.
Also Star Corner as well, didn't it? Didn't he enter the portal?
Oh, is it Taribo or something? Not Taribo. It's a really funky first name, isn't it? Yeah, he's gone somewhere.
Portal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought we forgot the draft.
Yeah, he's gone somewhere. Absolutely. Other bit that was mentioned, Mike Gundy was talking about his Oklahoma State team. Obviously, they've got a ton of questions to answer this year.
Another guy that I think, is it time?
Yeah. They've got a quarterback problem because obviously Alan Bowman's gone. He mentioned about Zane Flores, who's the third-year redshirt sophomore at this point now, who's standing out in camp. But
is Gunnar still there? Is his son still?
Maybe, but
Gunner's still there.
Yeah, all it is. And then Rangel, the other one, he like messed his collarbone up or something. But basically, there is no resolution as to who's going to be the starter there. But he mentioned Zane Flores by name, but he has not played a game in college so far. Going to show the OK State, there's still a lot to be answered there this year as well. Of course, no Ollie Gordon.
Oh yeah, your workhorse is gone.
Contra Preston goes, Ryan, directed today by J.J. Abrams. Don't know what that's to do. All the movie references and that. So yeah, that's everything basically that's come out of the Big 12 so far. I'll try and look for some SEC stuff for later. But we're going to move on to the crux of the show today. And as mentioned, this is all about the Underdog Union.
I'd like to mention that.
Oh, go on.
Yeah. Pieces in our conference team. Which quarterback did they pick? Like I say, we've upset a lot of people.
Oh, I didn't realise. Have they already?
Yeah, the all-conference preseason team's out. So yeah, it is Sam Levitt at quarterback.
That's just.
Yeah, but at Baylor, running back Bryson Washington.
Yeah.
Jaheim White from West Virginia.
Hmm.
The fullback is Will Swanson from Kansas State.
Yeah.
They've got Eric McAllister, the TCU wide receiver. He's going to have a big year with no Jack Beck. We've got Chase Roberts at BYU. Jordan Tyson. Makes sense. You've got the Cincinnati tight end Joe Royer. And then the offensive line. Obviously, you've got Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fennell. So you've got the two Utah tackles. You've got Ben Coleman, guard from Arizona State. The way they've listed it, Bryce Foster, the center I mentioned from Kansas. So that's a big pick for them. And then you've got Jordan Seaton, like say Colorado, the sophomore. So big year for Jordan this year in his sophomore year.
Oh, the left tackle. Yeah, he had a tremendous freshman year. Like, that dude's NFL ready now.
Two bookends on the defensive line. You've got David Bailey and Lee Hunter from Texas Tech. You've got CJ Fite, Arizona State DT. And the other DT is Dante Corleone, who will be in the draft this year. The hulking Cincinnati guy. Linebackers, you've got Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech. You've got Austin Romaine that you mentioned at Kansas State. He's one of the linebackers I mentioned. And you've got Keaton Thomas from Baylor, redshirt junior. And then they've just lifted 5 defensive backs. So they've got you've got the first Cyclone. You've got Jeremiah Cooper at corner.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Stud.
He's going to be a good draft finish. You've got the safety, John Tez Williams, also Cyclone. You've got DJ McKinney the safety partner from Colorado, and then your corners are Bud Clark, the senior stalwart from TCU, and good to see Xavier Alford from Arizona State, who had a great year at defensive back. So yeah, it's a good strong mix of teams there. To be fair.
So I just now that you mentioned that, obviously what we did last year, at some point we will get the power teams, they're all pre-season teams, and rank them as to what we think the positional groups are. But I got a lovely gift earlier in the week. I have Phil Steele's big college football magazine that he does, which is absolutely tremendous. I was just looking at his Big 12 first team. There are only 2 Arizona State players in the first team, Jordan Tyson and Xavier Alford. Sam Levitt is third team behind Avery Johnson, which I feel is unfair. I feel Avery Johnson is very good, don't get me wrong, but I do feel like Sam Levitt, out of all these guys, he has the most potential to be a round 1 draft pick next year. Sam Levitt does.
You make the case as well that he's played, but also he's very untested.
True.
I think he missed 2 or 3 games with the back injury, so he's only played realistically 9 college games. So
yeah, true.
He could declare for the draft as well, and he's technically his 3rd year.
And it depends, you've got to work with the pressure this year of being a favourite. So, and Rocco Becht is 4th team, which is bull. Rocco Becht is the best quarterback. Rocco Becht is the best quarterback in the Big 12. Bite me if you disagree. Kanye Udo is 4th team as well. Oh, I'm looking forward to the Big 12 this year. It's going to be so great. Actually, we might do the Phil Steele rankings as well, but we will go through all the rankings of all the teams in there. So, yeah, that is good stuff. But Big 12, absolutely stacked this year, as it always is. So, as mentioned, let's get on to the main crux of today. And that is the Underdog Union, as I say, our new home for where we talk about all things related to draft prospects from small schools who just don't get the love that they deserve. Obviously, me and Ryan have been big proponents of small school guys forever and a day now. You'll not go 1 week without hearing me talk about a UConn player or something like that, etc. So as the season starts, we want to point you in the direction of some of the players this year who are going to be playing at lower levels at smaller schools who we think have a very good chance of making it to the NFL draft, potentially next year, potentially the year after, but certainly players whose names you want to keep in mind. Now, for obvious first round draft picks, we're not going to do that. Who's the left tackle at Boise? Is it Casey or something like that? He's predicted, I think he went 22 in a recent mock draft or something like that. He's going to be a draft pick. He obviously is. So we're going to leave those ones out. These are the ones people are not talking about. So we've done lists from smaller Power 5 schools, the group of 5, and Ryan has got FCS prospects on here as well. So why don't we work our way from the bottom up? So I'll throw this one over to Ryan to start with, but I believe Ryan has a list of 4 prospects as of now that for you to watch out for this year. Obviously, as the season goes on, more and more of these will come up, but let's start down there first, and I've got one of my own I'm going to put in at the end. So who's starting your list of FCS prospects we need to be watching for the NFL draft next year?
So one most people have probably not heard of because, well, he's only had 1 season starting. So Jaden Craig. So he's the quarterback for the Harvard Crimson in the Ivy League. So 6'2", 215, and in his senior year. He was a first-time starter last year, and he led the Crimson to a share of the Ivy League conference in his first year. He started 10 games, 61%. 2,430 passing yards, 23 passing touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. He actually finished as a finalist for the Walter Payton Award, which is the equivalent of the Heisman. Like I say, is one of the top FCS players in the nation. He led the Ivy League in passing efficiency and also ranked 10th nationally in passing efficiency per game with 153. So he was one of the cleanest quarterbacks in the entire country. Also ranked top 20 as well in passer rating. That was in the FCS. So he set an incredibly high bar for the Crimson, who have been a middling team in recent seasons. But last year he came in, like I said, first time as a true, like I say, junior, took the helm, led them to a fantastic record. They would split the title. And it's going to be very interesting. So on CBS's list, wrote by Matt Zenitz, he is one of already a player to watch by NFL scouts. They're already looking at him as a 2026 potential sleeper, as a day 3 kind of UDFA pick. He's got the build. He's got incredibly good accuracy. He's got good pocket poise, with a good frame, and does a very good job of protecting the ball. Apparently, he's very well put together, a very smart player, despite having an overall lack of college D1 football under his belt, being a one-time starter. But yeah, apparently this guy is the real deal. And this year, with the inaugural automatic bid for the Ivy League in the FCS playoffs, if he can go one better, like I say, I don't know what happened. So there'll be no sharing the Ivy League this year. There will have to be a way to split them. There will be a tiebreaker, but someone is going to get an automatic bid. If he can leave Harvard to win the Ivy League and get them in the playoffs in that second round where the automatic bids come in, he's going to put himself on a huge national stage. All eyes will be on him because they've never made real waves into the playoffs. Like I said, they've never got much love nationally outside of postseason, being Ivy League schools there. Known academically, but for football, it's never been their forte. But this guy is the real deal, and he is someone to watch this year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he gets on in conference. But also, Senior Bowl, probably going to be a lock to make there as one of the QBs, because let's say he's from the Ivy League, so there's not a lot of guys, you just don't know them. They're not household names. It's not a household football conference, so it makes a lot of sense for them to get him in there. Could see him at the combine as one of the small kind of score guys. He'll do the tours, the All-Star games as well. So interesting prospect is a day 3 UDFA kind of practice squad QB. Definitely a name as well, like I said, that you probably look at like the UFL, like I said, or maybe in Europe. So someone I expect next year to probably be playing pro football somewhere. But yeah, this guy probably the floor is very high and the ceiling is the future. He's got a chance to make a huge name for himself this year if he can go one step further with the Crimson.
Absolutely. So, what was the name again? So,
Jaden Craig.
So that's it. You got Jaden Craig, quarterback in the Ivy League. Keep an eye on the Ivy League there. Who else have we got next on the list?
So next, I've got Eli Gilman. So the junior running back from the Montana Grizz. 6 foot, 200 pounds. This kid came into college, like I say, with a rocket up his ass. 2023 Big Sky Freshman of the Year. 2023 Jerry Rice Award winner. And now that is the FCS best freshman in the country. So he scooped up all the awards of 2023. He enters 2025 ranked all time in Grizz records. Number 7 in career rushing yards, 2,137. Number 5 in rushing touchdowns to 28. Number 7 in total touchdowns to 30. And 15th all-time in individual points scored at 180. So he's got an entire season where he can probably finish in nearly top 3, top 4 in every category and go down as being one of the legends of Montana Grizz football. Had an outstanding season in 2024, 167 carries, 1,150 yards and 15 rushing touchdowns in 14 games. That was good enough to be like top 27 rusher, in combined offense. He's one of the most experienced and one of the most talented running backs that is deciding to return this year. Like I say, he had eligibility, could have tried to probably go like day 3 late on, but the Grizz last year only went 9-5. They got dumped out of the playoffs very unceremoniously in round 2. Wasn't a pretty loss, and they are a team known for these good extended postseason runs. By their standards last year, they didn't get to double-digit wins. Like I said, they were battered by Montana State. It wasn't pretty for him, so I think he's come back on a personal mission to try have one last crack. Like I said, set a load of records. Like I said, try climbing up the rankings. But 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's
good frame.
Good frame. He's credible, like you say, draft pick next year. Super experienced. Like you say, he's got the accolades in awards right now. He plays in a big FCS conference. Like I say, the Big Sky is a notable conference, Montana Grizz. And he will be looking to go out with a bang. He will want the Grizz to go a bit further in the playoffs next year, get back to 10, 11 wins, and then he can leave on top. But either way, he's leaving college football as one of the best Grizzlies of all time.
And you think the treasure trove that's come out at running back of the FCS recently, there's plenty of FCS running backs now in the NFL. So
I was wondering what it's like for running him as well, because I saw a video on YouTube, like the Montana Grizz Stadium is one of the highest at altitude.
So
so I wonder what it's like rushing. I imagine it's really hard. It must be really hard on the body and like the breathing.
So you've got to figure that if he plays at a lower altitude, he'll be even better. You know, if you can adjust to them high altitudes, then that's great. But yeah, Montana are going to be right up there. So that is running back at Montana. Who else we got on? Who's number 3?
So this is a young guy. So Sam Galagoski. So he is an outside linebacker for the UC Davis Aggies. So 6'3", 225 pounds, just a redshirt sophomore. So the Aggies went 11-3 last year. They had a fantastic year. They made a good run into the playoffs. They fell to a good South Dakota team in the quarterfinal stage. So they'll be looking to replicate what they've done this year. So this young man last year was just a rotational. Like I say, he came in, like I say, as a redshirt, like I say, true sophomore. Like I say, he was just a rotational. He only played 185 snaps last year, so he came as a piece, but had 5 sacks. He has got a real nose for the football and getting to the quarterback. And this year, he's going to break out. So there's only 2 players on the defense that played over 200 snaps returning. Everyone else is gone. That team is going to be absolutely ravaged on defense. So Sam is going to instantly be a starting pass rusher outside linebacker this year. So he is going to go out there and he's going to probably blow up this year. He's on a list of potentially 10, 11, 12 sacks. You're going to get forced fumbles. You're going to get everything. This kid, about incredibly smart, well put together. He's taken the most, like I say, he's got speed, he's got length, he's got power, he's got a strong pass rush ability that he showed in just a small amount of ability. And now he's going to get the chance to do it on a big stage because the Aggies look like they're a real team, they're legit. They should be in the hunt to make a good playoff run again. And this man's going to be one of the guys that's going to be leaned on. As, like I say, now an experienced veteran, he could get 300-400 snaps maybe. Like I say, with that I expect the production with the workload to trend in, like I said, upward correlation. So I think he's going to have a big year. He's going to be a name to watch, like say, all big team, all second, like all third. Like I say, he's going to be on an all-star team, I expect, at the end of his freshman year. I mean, and his FCS year, whether that's first, second, his name's going to be somewhere.
Yeah, and this was a team that had their highest ever seeding in the playoffs last year in their entire program history at 5. And they had the win over South Dakota as well, didn't they? The big, which I think you called there. Did they get all the way through to play Montana State? I think it was.
They lost to South Dakota, but no, they went.
Oh, did they lose to South Dakota?
They got to the quarterfinals last year.
So it was a good run. So
they went 11-3, which I think it was like one of our best records ever.
No, it was a great season for them. So, like I say, another big platform potentially for him to be on there. And then the last of these 4 for now, and you will probably have heard Rye talk about this one before, and maybe a few others, but he's got a infamous brother. And this is another coming from the Bison pipeline.
Yeah, this guy, probably a household name, or he should be, because he will be at some point. This guy is probably one of the most credible FCS draft picks next year. I feel like there's no way he doesn't get picked. Minimum day 3, so Bryce Lance. If anyone's heard that name before, yes, that's Trey's younger brother. Like I say, NDSU Bison. 6'3", 205 pounds. He's a big kid. He's a muscly kid. He's strong. Like I say, 2024, all Mountain Valley first team. 2024, ADFC, all FCS academic team. The kid's as good on the field as he is in the books. Like I say, he's a very well-educated young man, and like I say, he dominates on the field. So they played 16 games. He started in 13 of them. And like I say, he put up some big numbers. 75 catches for 1,071 yards and 17 receiving touchdowns. That led the FCS. That was second in the country. The only person who was behind was Nick Nash, the Spartan, that had 18. And that's tied, I believe, a Mountain Valley conference record for receiving touchdowns in a season. So the kid had historic numbers. Now, he could have declared last year, and they won the national title. So he had every reason next year to decide, like say, I was going to jump into draft, and he would have been picked last year. A lot of scouts were already looking at him, but he decided to return for his senior year. Like I say, probably wants to try go back to back, but yeah, he wants to just improve his name, improve the stock right now. He's by far one of the most highest profile names, I'd say, right now in the FCS world anyway. He's a guy that is going to be considered up there with some, like say, some of the top wide receiver picks next year. He is going to go up draft boards. He'll be one of the first names announced for the Senior Bowl, no doubt. 1, because of who his brother is, and 2, because of what he's done. Like I say, he'll instantly be at the combine. It does help having an infamous brother, like you say, because it gets a bit of people talking about him, like I say, but this kid, he's the real deal. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got frame. Red zone, like you say, he plays like Antonio Gates. He plays like he's the big man in the NBA. He boxes people out. He's got a well-built muscular frame. He's got great hands. He can do it all. He's a very well put together guy. Used all the eligibility. Like I say, he's got some great career numbers. He's done really well at this point. I wouldn't have begrudged him declaring last year, but he said he's come back and he's not finished again. I expect him to put up similar numbers again this year, and also probably see the Bison make a good push, even without Cam Miller, because there'll be a succession plan at QB. There always is. There has been for years. So I expect, like I say, maybe the down year, but I expect him to come into next year's draft cycle with just as much momentum.
I think it was a smart choice, right? Because I think if I remember rightly when you've talked about him, he'd not played a great deal before last year. So the extra snaps should help him, like you say, just develop those extra bits he'll need for the next level.
Anyone looking for a prototypical kind of X kind of guy next year as an outside receiver, like I said, doesn't want to go too high. Like I said, the pre-draft cycle could work his way up to a day two. We've seen FCS and small school guys in recent years. I mean, Christian Watson. Christian Watson literally came through this system, did what he did. That was a first-round draft pick.
Somewhere Ashley Soden's ears just pricked up when hearing prototypical X receiver.
The guy is the limit for Bryce, like I say, and with, like I say, the Lions lacking a big man, like I say, their receiver room, like I say, Tim Patrick Water back 2026, JMO under contract. Someone I'm definitely looking at. Someone I'm looking at as a potential pick for the Lions, because like I say, he ain't shy as well in the blocking game. Because we know how strong the QB run game is in NDSU. You need receivers that can block for mobile QBs. So he can do the dirty stuff as well.
Yeah, we should get plenty of a look at him this year. Mile Marker, of course, in there saying go Bison. He goes, love that, doing the EDU right. Brent Dewitt also championing on the Bison as well. So just remind us of the 4 names there for people to keep an eye on at the FCS level next year that you've got in your sights.
We've got the quarterback from Harvard Crimson. That is Jaden Craig. You've got the running back from the Montana Grizz, which is Eli Gilman. You've got the outside linebacker from UC Davis, that is Sam Golagoski. And then you've got Bryce Lance, the ex-receiver from the North Dakota State Bison.
And just before we finish the FCS ones, I want to chuck an honourable mention in here, purely for the reason that this is a guy who is going somewhere to a team where I think his career that is dead in the water could potentially be rejuvenated in a massive way. You know all who my favourite head coach is in the country, Brennan Marion, headed down to Sac State this year. They're going the FCS independent route as you are, but he picked up a pretty significant quarterback commitment to go there, to go play in his go-go system. And it's a guy right? Jaden Rashada is there now. And I know Jaden Rashada has had a very disappointing career. Obviously, he's chased the money a bit, had the problems with Florida to start with, and it's just not really worked for him. But, I mean, the fact remains he was still a high-level commitment. He's still got the skill there, and now he's going to go to one of the most ferocious offensive schemes in the entire country, which necessarily doesn't put all the pressure on the quarterback to do the work. A lot of it's running, and as we know, Jaden does have the dual threat in his arsenal. Like, it may get to a point where he just doesn't play there at all because his attitude stinks and he doesn't want to play him. But I think, right, there's just that 1% chance that you could see something, like, meteoric from him this year and his rise just go, like, to the moon.
I think FCS football, if it's not in physically, I think it weeds out those that are mentally weak. It takes a lot to swallow your pride, drop down to the FCS to bounce back. And do you know we've seen do it in recent years? Zach Calzada. Now he didn't make FCS. He went down 2 years ago, went to Incarnate Word. Where is he back now? Back in the FBS. He went down there, he pulled his socks up, he sucked it up that it was there, he put up some huge numbers, and the guy got a transfer back to the big time. Will he make it? I'd like to think so, because he has to be a better player now than he was before then. He's weathered, he's battle hardened. Like I say, and I want to think the same can happen with Jaden Rashada. Like I say, if he can stay healthy, a full season under his belt, you never know, he may love it. Like I said, he may decide to stay here. If you're going to bounce back, it is the stage to do it, because there are a lot of guys out there that will look on you very fondly if you can drop down the FCS, if you can dominate, and I say still get eligibility, they will take you back with open arms if you want to get back to the FBS level. But if you go down there with an attitude, a chip on your shoulder, like I say, you're going JUCO, you're going D2, D3, like you say, you're done in D1 football, because word of mouth will spread that you ain't got it.
Yeah, you're coming over to the EFL to play for Hamburg if you're doing that. So let's be done. But yeah, I'm predicting a massive year for Jadon Richarda just because I trust Brennan Marion so much and his scheme there. So let's see how things work for Sac State. All right, that is the FCS prospects out of the way. So let's move up a level to the Group of Five and one of our favourite wheelhouses for trying to find prospects for upcoming drafts, and I've got a nice little group of people here who I'm really looking forward to seeing play this year, and hopefully you guys will check them out too. And the first place we're going to stop is at one of our most emotionally bonded teams. This is led by a head coach who we have covered a lot on this show. We really want this team to do well. They're so close to bowl eligibility after being in an absolute mess when he first got there, but we're going off the American mainland. We're going all the way out into the Pacific to the island of Hawaii, and we're going to talk about Peter Manuma. He is the strong safety for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. He is 6 foot, 200 pounds, just the right build for a good strong safety for me. Maybe 5-10 pounds on him, but hey ho. 1,970 snaps in his collegiate career, 216 tackles, 71 run stops, 15% missed tackle rate, but that's coming down year on year, 3 forced fumbles, and then in coverage, 46 of 75 receptions given up. It's 61%, which for safety is fairly low. 5 interceptions, 6 pass breakups. He is graded as a minimum 72 plus every year against the run. This is coming into his 4th year now at Hawaii. This is Mr. Hawaii. There is no one more Rainbow Warrior on this team than Peter Manuma. He's started ever since he was a true freshman. He's not given that job back. He's grinded out the entire Timmy Chang rebuild there. It's not been easy. Like, they were left with absolutely nothing when Timmy Chang arrived. This is one of his first guys in, the guy who's been first through the door every single day, who has gone to work and has given it everything for this team. He is the undisputed team leader on defense. He is the captain of all captains on that defense, and he has resisted every attempt to try and lure him away from this team, and he has been offered some eye-watering sums of money to leave this program. It just goes to show guys like him and Pafeli Ashlock and Braden Shager have all stayed on this team, which goes to show the culture that Timmy Chang has built there. But I just listened to him and then instantly you're brought into him. This guy is wise beyond his years. He's talking about NIL and that. He goes, loyalty runs deeper than money. I want a legacy in Hawaii, not a year on someone else's bench. Like, this guy's got his head screwed on right. He wants to stay in Hawaii. He wants to see this project through to completion. The belief is that this is going to be the year when Hawaii break that glass ceiling and make it into bowl contention again and get this team up and running in year 4 of this rebuild. And the guy plays like he leads. He leads from the front. He plays with this brute physicality, which you would expect, of these Hawaii guys. That they are tough. He's disruptive against the run. The amount of times you just see him come up, especially on screens, just absolutely jacks a guy in half. He takes no prisoners when he's coming down against the run. He's really good in coverage for a safety, especially as a guy who has to do as much as he does. He does play the single high. He does play in a 2-man front back there. You can kind of play him wherever you want. He plays a bit in the slot. Hell, he even comes up into the box from time to time against run-heavy teams to give an extra layer of defence to the front 7. So versatile-wise, he is really good. The only thing he doesn't really have on his arsenal at the minute, it's his blitz element. He did when he was younger. They used to blitz him a lot and he was quite good at it, but they seem to have dialed that back over the years. They had a new DC start there last year who I think just dialed it in a bit. But if you can give a blitz impact to this guy as well as everything else that he does, like, the NFL is going to come calling for him. And if Hawaii is going to have this sort of breakout year that we're expecting, they've got some good opposition on the schedule as well. There should be some primetime games with them in it. Peter Manuma, he's going to be an NFL player. He's got the attitude that you want. He plays the game right. I think he would score very highly on the grit index with Dan Campbell and these guys. And, if we're looking for a safety next year, he's going to be one of the first places I stop there. So, Peter Manuma, the strong safety at Hawaii, right? I mean, it just goes to show there are good playmakers on this Hawaii team. And while they've kind of not made it into bowl contention yet, the retainment of a lot of their best players, whereas before everyone used to walk out the door, they're going in the right direction. This is the guy who they rally behind to do that.
Yeah. And it's probably fair to say that Peter has probably had a lot of offers, or probably had a lot of on the West Coast anyway. There are a lot of schools that probably would welcome him with open arms, and they'd give him, yeah, a little bit of pocket money, might say, to try and lure him. But yeah, he's not interested. He wants to see out what he started. Like I say, he's one of the guys that players look to. If people saw someone like him walk out the door, they'd probably think, yeah, there's nothing for me there. If they can't retain their leaders on and off the field, like I said, they're just they're extension of coaches, and they're the kind of guys that you've got to stick around. Like I said, we've been waiting for the stadium to be built. Like I said, they've been playing football where it's felt like it's hard to get up in the morning because you know no one's going to watch you. It feels like you're playing games like empty. Like it just feels like sometimes it must be so hard to motivate yourself. But there are guys there that genuinely do just care for the cause, the coaches, the teammates, the brand, the school. Whether or not it's glamorous to play football, not there. Maybe will they one day soon where they get these brand new facilities. Like I say, they get the flash. But right now, yeah, it's been grind. It's been a slog. They've slowly been getting there. Like I say, got a good guy in the centre. Like I said, they've got some good stalwarts. They've had a lot of turnover at a lot of key positions, which has not helped. That's not out of their control. And like I said, Peter's a guy, like I said, that plays a physical, strong brand of football. Like I say, he's got turnovers. Like I say, he's made big plays when he's had to. The kind of guy that when you need something to happen, you can just look at him and go, I need you to do it. I need you to go out there and be the one, go get me the ball. Like I say, he puts himself in position to make plays. Right, kind of guys coaches love. Like I say, core special team at the pro level, can work his way into a rotation. No doubt there are a lot of schools and a lot of teams that will respect the skill set he's got and the leadership and everything, and it will speak for itself. So yeah, it's a big year for him personally, and also a big year for Hawaii to try and kind of put it all together. Like I say, it's been gaining momentum, but now you need to reap the rewards.
Yeah.
You've got to get that 7.5 wins. You've got to, like I say, break through the glass ceiling. It feels like it's now or never before you lose another class, and you lose guys like him that they just kind of they personify everything you try to do.
And he's trying to build there. Like Chang needs the winning season now. For year 4, you've 2 5-win seasons. You've got some good wins under the belt. Now you've just got to break through the glass ceiling, as other teams have in the Mountain West. Like we've seen some of the bottom feeders go up to the top, like New Mexico.
Will, don't you? Like say, people love him, but eventually, like say, goodwill runs out. You can only itself. Sometimes you got to put some actual fuel in the car to prove to keep you around. Yeah,
the check is ready to be cashed there, but certainly Peter Manuma, the strong safety at Hawaii, going to be one of the best players on that team, and watch him in draft circles for next year. Moving on to my next guy, we're staying in the secondary, and this will be a name, at least a surname, which is familiar to a lot of Lions fans. He is the son of old Seattle wide receiver Brian Blades. He is the nephew of old Detroit Lions player Benny Blades. We've mentioned him on this show before, I think during the FIU preview last year. This is Brian Blades II, cornerback for the Florida International Panthers. He's 5'11", 172 pounds. This is his 5th year in college football. He's had 2 years as a starter so far. He's moving into his 3rd year as a starter. So in these last 2 years, 1,500 snaps, 73 tackles, 21 run stops, 46 receptions given up on 94 targets, which is a measly 49% completion against rate, which is very good. Just the 1 interception, but 13 pass breakups for him. And Brian Blades is the very definition of under the radar. So his story it's been crazy. So he was a walk-on at Florida International 4 years ago. First 2 years, he was just beset by injuries, which really stopped him getting onto the field, really derailed his career. Managed to get himself healthy going into year 3. Got himself the starting job. He's had that starting job ever since, and he's gone from this injured walk-on to one of the most consistent performers at cornerback in the entire group of 5 for me over these last couple of years. Florida International had the 16th best passing defense in the nation last year. I know they weren't particularly good against the run, but still through the air when teams threw on them, Brian Blades and his running mate, whose name I keep forgetting, they were locked down at the corner position for them. And what's exciting about this year and the step he's going to take is the new head coach in town at Florida International. We mentioned Willie Taggart a couple of weeks ago on head coaches and jobs to watch this year. Willie Taggart in his time at Florida A&M put a lot of bona fide talent into the NFL. The guys who had the NFL stuff but were playing at the low level, he was the coach who seemed to be able to unlock that talent in these guys, find the scheme that fit them, brought out the best in them, and took them on to further success as the league went on. And I'm figuring the same is going to be for Brian Blades this year. So you kind of want to add a little bit more mass to that 172-pound frame, get it up to 180, 185. That'll help you with the run defense issues, because he's better in pass coverage than he is against the run at the minute. Although he's not terrible against the run. His average numbers there, but if you want to get to the NFL, you're just going to have to bulk up the frame a little, show a little better against the run, and then you just want to see a little uptick in the turnovers. I know you got 13 pass breakups, but just the one interception. You just want to show that you've got that ball hawkishness about you. Just get a few more turnovers, especially for a team like FIU that is going to need them. But in terms of his coverage work, it's already up there as to what he's going to need at the next level. He's sticky in man coverage, very capable in zone. Got a good head coach coming to him this year who hopefully is going to round out his game. He'll have a full 3 years of starting under his belt. And I do expect him to declare this year. And, you know, he's got the bloodline as well, Ryan. I know it doesn't mean nothing in terms, but like the family have been there, they've done that, they understand what it takes to make it at the next level. He's going to have the right voices around him, advising him what he needs to do. This is another guy who's just sort of sat in the group of five, who's getting no love whatsoever from anybody, but he's consistently been very good these last 2 years on a bad team. And if this Willie Taggart-led team gets good this year, he's going to have a big stage to show himself on.
Yeah, it's a player that probably just completely overlooked because of the circumstance, because of where he plays. People will look at the team's record, and rightly so, but then they dismiss every player on the team like they're bad. Like I say, they don't work together. They couldn't possibly have a star individual player. In recent years, they've had stars. They've had individual top talent, and they've struggled to keep hold of it. But Brian, like I say, has walked on. Like I say, he wasn't a big high school recruit, didn't have loads of offers, want high stars. Like I say, if he wanted to play football, had to play for free. He had to give up his own time. He had to earn it. Like I say, he's had to stick around, be a stalwart in a program that, has been trending down in what feels like a while. Like I say, there's not been a lot to get up and shout about down in FIU in recent years. But he has not let the lack of success as the team get him down. He's kept grinding, he's kept training, he's kept working on himself personally, getting better, getting stronger. Like I said, polishing the tools he's got, which is great coverage. Like I say, he's a good pass covering corner. Like I say, he knows what he needs to work on. Yeah, that'll be at the next level. Like I say, if he can work on run support, that'll probably be what makes or breaks him. But he knows right now, this year is about, as you say, refining skills, polishing them, bulking. Like I say, could do, like I say, up his diet, like I say, because this year I'd expect him to declare as well. Like I say, it's going to be a big year for him personally. If he can stand out and have a big year under his belt and then go into the draft cycle with a bit of momentum, the family name don't hurt. Like I say, it will at least get people talking about him. So it will, word of mouth is good for him. Like I say, who he is related to. And as you say, it's never bad to have ex-pros around you because you're going to get the best advice while you're playing in college, and they're going to keep him on the straight and narrow. Never be a kid that's going to do out silly because they'll know what's at stake. He's probably got a lot of discipline in him, so he's on to good things. And I'd like to think the team under Willie Taggart, interesting hire, they've gone down the savvy old veteran route, which I respect.
Sorry, I've said this. It's Willie Simmons, not Willie Taggart. I am so sorry, Willie Simmons. I have butchered your name. So yeah, we know it's the old FAMU guy. Sorry, that is my mistake.
Like I say, the recent coaching hires there have left a bad taste in the mouth. Like I said, they've not lasted well, they've not done well, they've been. So going down an experience route of a guy at that level, as you say, smaller school football that's managed to find success, he will come in with the right values. They didn't need the super flashy names. I like that. I think it's probably a good fit for him too, personally. He can probably help him find out what he needs to succeed at the next level.
A Florida guy, recruits well. I'm so sorry. I never make mistakes like that. But yeah, Willie Simmons is the coach down there. I apologise. I think he's going to get Brian Blades into the NFL. And again, another who's resisted the lure of NIL. 2 very solid years at corner on an FIU team. You'll be getting deals from somewhere. and he's chosen to stay, so the loyalty aspect always plays into this. But yeah, Benny Blades the second, cornerback at Florida International, is another one you've got to keep your eye on this year. I think he will be in the NFL this time next year, unless injury, in which he'll come back for another year, but hopefully that is not the case. Right, moving on. Number 3 I've got here, going on the offensive line now. We've had a couple of secondary guys, but the next guy I've got my eye very keenly on this year, another who's come out a system that I like and bedded him very well at a higher level last year. Chris Adams. This is the offensive tackle from the Memphis Tigers. He's 6'5", 277 pounds. We'll talk about that in a minute. He's a 2-year starter, so he started off at Old Dominion, had a rotation year there, had a starting year for them in 23, played decent on that Ricky Rahn team that did really well, and then he got his move up to Memphis last year, and my God, he absolutely smacked it out the park. Nearly 2,000 snaps in college. He's given up 6 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and 32 hurries on 1,087 pass blocking snaps, but the vast majority of those pressures given up came year 1 while he was learning the job at left tackle at Old Dominion. Last year, he graded 81 plus, both as a run blocker and a pass blocker. Didn't give up a single sack. And Mario Anderson, the running back who had that tremendous year, about 1,400 yards on that team. The vast majority of his rushing yards came through the left-hand side of that line, or areas that Chris Adams was in. And you know, you hear 277 as a tackle and you think, my God, that's light. And it is light, and he's going to need to certainly bulk up a little bit this year. But what the lighter tackle frame means, one, in the run game, you can shoot out of your stance up to the second level, up to the perimeter on screens, all that sort of stuff. He's very mobile, very agile kid, and he doesn't play like 277. He's got strength like a 300-pounder. But then also as a tackle, it does help you. The quicker get off, you can get under the big guys quicker if you're able to hit them first, which kind of negates the size difference there. But you are also small enough that these speed rushers who try to hit round the edge, he can keep and mirror them step for step because he's quite light. And you saw that Memphis team last year, one of the best offenses in the country. Seth Hennigan was kept very healthy. Not many hits on that line last year. It was one of the best rushing teams. I think it was like 25th in the nation in overall offense, but considering he's come up for 1 year from Old Dominion, where he's had a pretty rough year learning the job, to just immediately adapt on a team that's got a lot of pressure on it. It's expected to go after a playoff spot, which had a relatively good year. I mean, you're going to have to watch the frame this year, right, for sure, but the way he plays, like, this is an NFL caliber guy, and I know there are a lot of people looking at him under the radar already, but, you know, when you see a guy move up in that level of opposition and just absolutely smash it out the park, they learn that quick. You've got no worries about them doing it at another level.
Yeah, and the versatility. So, 4 games at right tackle, issue with the left tackle, and they said, "Can you move over?" And yeah, he didn't even think twice about it. Like I say, for a lot of people to learn on the fly how to like move over, like say, it's panic stations. Right tackle to left tackle it's a big deal. And a lot of people, like say, simply always like, it's fine. It's not. It's mirroring everything. It's probably picking up the best pass rusher. Like I say, if you've got a natural right-handed quarterback, it's protecting the blind side. Everything is just more elevated. Everything is, like say, on red alert. So you've got to be at the top of your game. And I read here, only player on the team to play every offensive snap of the season. Everyone missed a snap at some point in the season, not him. He was the only guy. He's a stalwart. Like I say, he was the one guy that could be relied on, dependable, and yeah, good health, fitness, didn't miss any time. He plays the game right now, like I say, to the best of his ability, and he plays it his way, like I say, his way. He relies on footwork, agility, hand placement, speed. Yes, at next level, like, he will have to find a way to gain the right amount of weight and muscle where he doesn't lose that. There's going to be a balance there, which you expect him to be able to manage. But right now, he's got a very good base. Like I say, he's got great footwork. He's got agility moving forwards and backwards. So he's finding a good way to use his frame right now. Like I say, he's not, like I say, not overly experienced. He made the jump up. Like I say, he's come straight to a program that is expected to win. It does win. It produces strong football. Like I say, a lot of people watch them for their offensive brand of football because it's powerful. It does overwhelm teams. and he's made the transition like duck to water. So next season, like if he's able to find that balance between get bigger, get stronger for the pros, and also keep everything he's good at right now, then he will be a guy that will garner some interest at next level as a potential pulling guy, a swing guy, where if you want someone mobile on your offensive line to make those kind of plays laterally, he will probably be someone you look towards.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy again this year. And again, it's coming out systems you trust. I say you've done it at ODU under Ricky Rowan. You're now doing it at Memphis. Memphis has been great for its NFL talent the last couple of years. No more so than last year. He's going to be the next off this conveyor belt. Whether he decides to stay one more year or not, I don't know. But you figure if he has another great year here, there's not going to be much he can learn unless someone in NIL offers him a big deal at the Power 5 level. But this guy, for me, he's got everything he needs. So Chris Adams, the offensive tackle at Memphis, is another who you need to watch out for this year. But two more. This next one, he is a complete and utter enigma, and I don't know what to make of him, but I watch him play, and my God, if the ceiling for this guy comes off, we are going to see something truly special. Kobe Stewart, he is the edge for the Buffalo Bulls. He is 6'3", 240 pounds, spent 3 years at Samford. Last year transferred to Buffalo, had 1 year there. So his 2024 season, 34 tackles, 20 run stops, just an 8% missed tackle rate, which is tiny, a forced fumble, 2 pass breakups, 30 quarterback pressures, 10 were sacks, 8 were hits, 12 were hurries. And when I say he's an enigma, this guy spent 3 years barely getting in the rotation at Samford, who were down in the FCS, and wasn't able to work his way into this team. He then moves up to the FBS to Buffalo, who have not been a great team these last few years. And in year one, he's the sack leader in the MAC. Nobody got more sacks than this guy last year, and he has this great season. He does really well. He then goes in the portal in December. He is taking visits to just about everybody. He even went to Georgia, who offered him a deal to go there. And then all of a sudden, he withdraws from the portal and he goes back to Buffalo despite having his pick of teams to go to. I can only figure maybe for starting time that you want to do it again, but you watch this guy play, and I'm not, I try not to use hyperbole and stuff on here. When I say things, I mean them. This guy is an absolute animal. We talk about players who have motors and the desire to win and get pressure that. I've not seen somebody with a bigger motor than this guy, ever. Like, the way I have watched him play, the speed off the snap he has is absolutely insane, and he is relentless, whether it's running backs, quarterbacks, receivers on screens. If he sniffs out blood, he'll find the source and he will deal with it. And it's the way he wins. There's not just one. He's got the bend to hit you round the edge. He's got the speed if he's on a free blitz to get to a quarterback in absolutely no time at all. He will bull rush you and run right over you if he can. And then he's got the speed to hit you on the inside. They love using him on inside stunts. Like that first step, pulling guards can't keep up with him and he will be on the quarterback before you know it. Just the way he wins with so many different ways is crazy. And yes, some of it is uncontrolled chaos at times because he is stupidly athletic, but the recovery this guy has is absolutely insane. There's one play that sticks in my mind from watching him play. It's regular run play. He bends around the edge of the left tackle, gets all the way back to where the quarterback is. The running back's gone up the gut, like completely in the opposite direction from him. He has to stop on a dime, and he chases the running back, who must be about 6 yards away from him. Like, he's got good momentum going forward as well. He catches him in 3 strides. I don't know how the hell he does it, but this running back is just, it seems like he's so far away from him, and he just completely swallows him up. Like, this guy is absolutely relentless. There's a play where he pushes a double team back. One guy with both arms pushes them both back right into the quarterback and takes all 3 of them out in one play. It's, how did a guy like this not get into the team at Samford? How did a guy like this not be able to do this for 3 years of his career, and then he just suddenly comes up to Buffalo and just plays like he's one of the best edge rushers in college football, period. Not just in the group of 5, but there. And it's, obviously a second season is going to help this eval, because, like, if he plays like this again, then that's high-level NFL playmaker caliber that this guy has from absolutely nothing. If he evens out a little bit, then maybe it's not going to be so, but you watch him play, and, he's got everything you want. The pass rush arsenal's there, and just every way he can win, inside, over you, or outside, which is rare at this level, and the closing speed is insane, and again, the motor, I've just not seen like this on someone before, and I know it's the Mac cry, I know the level of competition there isn't the best, but if the Mac can be praised for doing one thing in recent years, it's defensive linemen. They don't necessarily come to the NFL through there, but you think of all the guys who've gone to Florida State and gone to the NFL and all that. Like, they do linemen well on both sides of the ball, and, I think it's fair to say if you can do well against it on the line, you're in there. I don't know if you've seen him play, but it's an enigma. How do you go from not playing in 3 years in the FCS to looking like one of the best edge rushers in college football in 1 year? Like, I am so intrigued by this guy.
It's if he's got serious offers, like I say, if he got credible offers in the portal, like I say, those teams obviously have been watching his film, and they see something in him, and they think, yeah, this is the kind of guy that's worth spending a little bit of money on. He's decided, no, maybe what you run isn't for me. I respect that as well. He's a guy that, well, it's fair, 6'3", 240. That's exactly Darius Alexander's build, isn't it? And he was just, like I say, he just came from the MAC. Toledo's a defensive lineman, and he was getting like top 40 chatter. Like, it's definitely done in the MAC. This guy is one of those players where people hate the fact he's like a tweener, but I love it because it just means the guy can play on a 4-man front, a 3-man front. He can put his hand in the dirt, or you can just stand him upright. Like I say, you can put him anywhere you want. He's a chess piece because he ain't too big, he ain't too heavy, but he's kind of got, as you say, that bottle. He's got that lightning in a bottle where he can kind of just explode. He can turn speed into power, and that gives him a good shot against going up against those guys that are like 320, 330 with the big chunky legs and bases. He can go against them. He has got a way of winning in multiple ways. He's a guy that understands alignment. He understands what he's seeing the best way. Like I say, if he calls, like if he wants to twitch, he wants to stun, if he wants to do a spin move, he understands the best way to beat a certain kind of guy. Once he's gone up him against a few times, he can size someone up very quickly. So yeah, someone that almost a relative newcomer, has been in football, but like I say, didn't get on the field or just kind of watched and was being held back, and now the handbrake has officially been taken off. This year's more about refinement. What front does he want to play in? Who does he think would suit him best? Where does he think he will be most best utilised going forward? Those kind of things he just needs to do his polishing, because he's got all the raw fundamentals are there now. He just needs to elaborate and work on them. So yeah, there's a lot to like about him. There's a lot of talent there. Now it's just working out just how he can be the best version of himself. And like I said, I like the decision to come back to Buffalo because I think he knows here in the MAC that he can go out there, he can smash 10, 11, 12, 13 sacks next year, and yeah, everyone will be talking about him. But if he goes to Georgia and let's say he only gets 5.5 sacks, no one will be like, that was a bad move, he just cash grabbed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Sean Dolak last year coming out of Buffalo, you can get draft chatter there. Like, he's on an NFL roster now, so, I'm going to do a video on him eventually. I need to show you him. I have to show you him to put what he's about, but my God, I'm low-key really looking forward to him. So Kobe Stewart, the edge from Buffalo, the enigma this year, the absolute enigma of a player, and God knows what we're going to get, but if it's good, it's going to be one of the best edge rushers in the Group of 5, period. Better than a lot of the Power 5 as well. And then the last guy we've got in here, going back to the offensive line as well, and this is a guy I really like, again, just for his attitude, and he's going to break the grit index if he's ever put on it in the Lions' search for prospects. Jack Walsh. He is the offensive lineman from the Wyoming Cowboys. He is 6'3", 315 pounds, 4th year there, 2 years as a starter. Going into his 5th year, he'll be a 3-year starter. 1,730 snaps. He's had 121 at left guard, 1,415 at right guard, and he's got 194 at right tackle as well. He's done a little bit, but the curious thing, he's moving to centre in 2025, so his versatility is going to go through the roof if it works there. But he's given up 3 sacks, 8 hits, 21 hurries in 827 pass pro snaps. This guy is a thoroughbred run blocker. Like, he's got increasing pass pro skills, but at Wyoming, you know, they're the Cowboys. He acts like a cowboy. He is a cowboy. The way he plays, like, they were absolutely beset by injuries last year, Wyoming. It wasn't their best year. He was hurt for a lot of the season. He missed a couple of games, but for the most part, he played through it. Had an exceptionally good year for them. But yeah, this guy's a run mauling monster first and foremost, who has the frame and he has the IQ to play at centre. It's why he's moving this year. He wants to be. He's asked to move. They needed a centre. He's got high IQ. He wants to be the leader of that offensive line. He just don't want to play on it. He wants to lead it. Like, this guy will break a grit index if you're put there with him. Good showings last year against Arizona State and BYU. I've watched a little bit of it. Obviously, 2 of the best teams in the Big 12 last year. You show you can do it against the power opposition. He was really stout in his pass protection. Didn't give up a sack in either of those games. Pulled off some good blocks against the run-up at the second level as well, against a couple of really good defenses there. So when you can show it against the power opposition as well, then you know you've potentially got something going there. Like, say you've got the move to centre, which if you can crack, then you've got a guy who can play centre, a guy who's played plenty of guard, who's even played a little bit of tackle and has got the frame to do all 3. But he will be on NFL team radars if he nails this move. Now, Wyoming is a team we've not talked about a lot in many recent years, but, you know, they've got a rich history of guys from the NFL coming from Wyoming, and the one thing they all have right, they're tough as nails, they're tough as old boots, first and foremost. And, you know, I love this guy, the versatility he has. I think in 12 months he will also be in the NFL.
Yeah, it's clever to him if he can add another string to his bow. I mean, if after a few snaps he hits centre and it's not going well, maybe you go back to what's bread and butter. But if he powers through, like I say, he can just show that he can just stand in. Like I say, if he can just do a job all year and, like I say, kind of keep them clean. Because, yeah, if they badly miss, then, like I say, you go to experienced interior man. It will definitely look good on his resume next year if he can play multiple interior positions and just cover centre, because a lot of teams in the NFL don't have a backup centre. We're experiencing it right now where you kind of have to take a guy that can someone play it in the short term. So it's definitely a coveted backup centre. Like I said, in the grades, it fits himself. PFF, ranked him as the number 25 guard in the nation. He was the 4th best in the Mountain West by their metrics. Recorded 20 official pancakes, if that's an official stat, but they record them. 650 snaps without a sack given up. So this guy is the real deal. And he is someone that has, he's been a spearhead, a stalwart, a veteran on the offensive line, and now he's taking up another challenge to take in the most underrated position on a football team. It's where everything starts, and it can be where everything ends. So if he can prove that he can be a consistently good snapper of the ball, and he's able then to get his head up and then provide assistance guys around him, he'll have great draft stock, because he's just shown, like I say, that he's someone that he's just worth keeping on a roster in case, worst case scenario, you need to throw a guy in. He's the kind of guy you throw in. Yeah.
For me, he's a mulletless Tate Ratledge. He's a mulletless group of 5 Tate Ratledge, and he's going to show out well this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Jack Welch, the Wyoming guard. And I want to throw a quick honourable mention in, because we can't mention these things without mentioning UConn. Of course, there's going to be a UConn player in here this year, but it's not an offensive lineman, so don't worry about it. But Skylar Bell, the wide receiver at UConn, had 800 yards last year, his first real year of productivity. I think he came from Nebraska, if I remember rightly, but I'm just keeping an eye on him because really good in that system last year. Got the same quarterback this year. We love Jim Mora there. I just need to see a bit more from him first, but if I do, I will mention the name Skylar Bell again. So the wide receiver from UConn is on the radar. So in terms of the group of 5 prospects who, we've got for you to keep an eye on this year, I'll just recap through. You've got Peter Manuma, the strong safety from Hawaii. You've got Brian Blades, the second, the cornerback from FIU. We've got Chris Adams, the left tackle from Memphis. Kobe Stewart, the enigmatic edge from Buffalo, and then we've got Jack Walsh, the guard center hybrid from Wyoming, and then honourable mention for Skylar Bell. Right, move on to the last group of them. Power 5, and now as we've mentioned, the Underdog Union is welcome to Power 5. There are teams in the Power 5 that are not looked upon fondly, especially when it comes to the draft, and there are guys in the Power 5 who need their love as well, because they're not going to get any from anyone else there. So we're going to have players who are in here, and there are a lot of good players in the Power 5 who won't get a lot of love, and a lot of these are transfers coming up from the group of 5, so people maybe are not familiar with their game yet as the gift goes. So we're going to point you in the direction of some of these guys in the Power 5 you've got to watch out for this year, potentially who will make draft waves again, if not this year, definitely next year, and no more so than the first guy we've got here on the list, right? Like, incredibly excited to see this guy's development at a power school this year, because he has just been a monster in the group of 5 the last 2 years. He was our player to watch on the Liberty Flames team going into last year, and boy, he didn't disappoint. We're talking about the edge rusher TJ Bush, who's gone to the California Golden Bears. He is 6'3", 265 pounds, has spent his first 2 years at Liberty, started as a true freshman, played a full season as a true sophomore. He's coming into his true junior year, and this guy has the world at his feet. This is a rarity for an edge rusher. Generally, when we talk about edge rushers, especially ones who come in as true freshmen, generally the sack numbers jump off the chart first, and then they learn the run defense stuff later. It's easier for them to get the sacks than to hold up against these big, nasty offensive linemen against the run. You've got to learn that later. TJ Bush has done it the other way round. As a true freshman, he's come in and he has been an absolute stalwart against the run game. That 265-pound frame really serves him well, and he takes full advantage of it. 2 years, he is graded up near the 80s as a run defender, as a true sophomore and a true freshman, which is absolutely tremendous. And the pass rush is now starting to come along with it. 3 in his true freshman year, half a dozen in his true sophomore year last year. He's becoming a bona fide all-round threat from that edge position, whether it's defending the run or going after the quarterback. And he's got 7 batted passes as well in his time, so he's clever. If he can't get to the quarterback, he's looking for the passing lanes. He's trying to make impact plays on the ball, even if it's just not on the QB. That's a high IQ edge player. So you're good against the run, you've got the frame to do it. You've got an ever-evolving pass rush arsenal, which is great. And then you're making plays, even back in coverage as well. This guy can go there. I mean, Cal is not a sexy team, Ryan. It doesn't get a lot of love. But what Cal does is it puts players in the NFL. We saw all their secondary guys last year. Like, this is a system where he can flourish going up against the likes of Florida State, Clemson, NC State, all these guys. Great level of opposition. And you kind of get the feeling that if he nails his true junior year, it could be one of these underclassmen and he goes, you know what? I'm ready. I'm going to do this. But this guy has all the talent in the world. And Cal have got themselves a QB killer this year.
Yeah, Cal, bless them. They've had a mass exodus, haven't they, in recent years? Anyone that's gone there and it's been remotely good hasn't lasted, because last few years Cal have not been kind. I said they've had some great talent walk through the doors, but it's not stuck. And TJ, yeah, he thinks like he's outgrown Liberty. I think the national, how far they can take him, how far he can make a name for himself. I think he thinks like say, yeah, he's got to get into the Power 5 because he can do it. I have no doubt, like I said, that he's going to have an absolutely stellar year. The guy is the real deal. The guy is a 3.5, 4 down player. You can move him around like a chess piece. Like I say, he can rush the passer. He can come up in the box. He's physical against the run. He can pick up running backs at the backfield. He's comfortable, like I say, like a tight end. Like I say, across the middle. Like I say, he's fairly comfortable trailing in coverage. 6'3", 260, so big size, a lot of weight. He's a heavy kid, but like I say, he moves really well. Like I say, does all the basics very well. He's got better each year, and now he's going to try put himself in an interesting conference like this, because the ACC is in flux and thinks it's the best time to try be an entrance and coming into there. He's going up against some the big opposition. There's going to be chances where he's going to have some good nationally televised games where he's going to be able to get some good looks, and he's going to be busy. He's going to be a busy boy. he ain't brought in to like, oh, we'll bring him in, like, say, for the future. No, it's now. Like I say, the kid's going to hit the ground running. They're going to look at him straight away as, we need you to produce straight away. You're going to have to be one of the guys that's going to have to, like, take the rough. The other guys who've brought in all the experience, like I say, the freshmen, the true sophomores, like, we take him under your wing. So he's going to be a man on a mission this year. And I expect him to put up some probably pretty big numbers, because there ain't going to be all that much help with him that's on the roster right now.
Yeah, I think if he has a smashing true junior year, I could see a draft declaration. The only thing that may make him think a year is just how good it is at the top this year. Like there's some like TJ Parker and guys like that who are going to absolutely smash home.
As well.
Yeah. I think it will be in the back of his mind, but we've watched him for a couple of years. TJ Bush is a tremendous player, and he is going to ball out on this Cal team. So watch him for the ACC this year. I think he's going to make absolute waves. I'm really looking forward to him playing. But yeah, certainly the most important, who's not going to get a lot of love early on. TJ Bush, edge, California Golden Bears. And then there's another edge I'm really looking forward to, and I assume you'll watch a lot of this guy because he comes from, well, you will do, you won't have, but our old Rutgers. We love Rutgers. Rutgers football players get to the NFL now. This is a good defensive system, and potentially they've got a super stud for this year at the edge position as well. Of course, we're talking about Eric O'Neill, the edge who was transferred in from James Madison, and this guy has been putting up video game numbers for the last 3 years. This is going to be his 5th year. Started at the Long Island Sharks, and again, Ryan will test you. Decent team down in the FCS, the Long Island Sharks are. 2 years as a starter there. Transferred to James Madison last year. Absolutely knocked it out the ballpark and decided, you know what, I'm going to have one shot at the group of 5. The Power 5 before I come to the draft, just to elevate my stock further. And we saw the influx of James Madison players at Indiana last year. These guys can adapt to the Big Ten very quickly and can make impact plays very quickly. But 31 career sacks for this kid, 140 quarterback pressures, 150 tackles, 20% missed tackle rate. This is his glaring weakness right now. The tackling needs to get a bit better. 3 forced fumbles, 125 run stops. He's got 2 interceptions as well off the edge. Very little penalised. But in the last 3 years, 11 sacks in 22, went down to 7 in 23 at Long Island, but last year for James Madison, 13 sacks, 60 quarterback pressures, 4 battered passes, another one at the line who makes plays even if he's not rushing the passer per se. Got an interception last year as well, which he took for a touchdown. Another whose run defense is astounding. So starting from a redshirt freshman, his run grades 88, 81, 85. Again, another whose frame at 255, 6'3", kind of like TJ Bush, just 5-10 pounds lighter. He's another who starts with the run game first, goes annihilates the passer afterwards. To say, with 31 sacks in his last 3 seasons, he's coming up to Rutgers, Rye, who, yeah, okay, team who not the sexiest in the world, but we've seen defensive guys come from this team for years now. Secondary specifically, we've seen some on the line, we've seen some linebackers, but Eric O'Neill, this kid, going back to his FCS days, all he knows how to do is kill quarterbacks and stop the run. Like, this rise is meteoric. No matter where he stops, he just keeps adapting and going, and these are the guys that can be really dangerous. You do it for Rutgers, get 10 sacks in the Big Ten, make some splash plays, make some good plays against the running backs, you're going to be on a lot of radars come NFL draft season.
Yeah, it makes sense for him to use all his eligibility. When the offers are good, you might as well take them. Like, so if you're able to step up, like say, keep making these jumps, it's the best way that people are going to recognise him as a true kind of... Yeah, he's a pretty uncomplicated player. He is a hand in the dirt, pin his ears back, get after the quarterback. Yeah, and he is able to, like say, go around guys, go through guys, go inside. He's someone that he's great. He's going to try win any way he can. He's scrappy. Like I say, he's a finisher. He's been a finisher everywhere he's been. If he gets passed by, he'll haul ass. He'll pursue. Like I say, he'll make the QB throw it away. He'll make him scramble. If he'll get hands on him, bring him down. But he's also clever. When he realises he's beaten, and that he ain't getting past them, he'll drop back. He'll backpedal. Like I say, he'll just try then to, like I say, get his hands out, get the arms up, just try get in the way. He knows when he's beaten, and then he's going to try and make himself a nuisance in the pass game. Just try get in the way. And yeah, when he blocks passes, when he tips passes, when he gets hands on the ball like that, it makes him a real asset in the game because it means that yeah, he's got a good IQ. He knows when to. You don't just keep slogging. Like you say, sometimes it's better to be a bit smarter, save the energy, drop back, and like you say, kind of neutralise players that way. But yeah, he's done it at every level. Like I say, which means every coach loves him. He's been in multiple schemes, multiple coordinators, multiple defensive line coaches, and he's the kind of guy that will always probably say, yeah, easy to work with. He came in, we didn't know him that well, we just knew the tape, got the job done, great to work with, passed through the doors, wish him the best. That's how he's landed here. As you say, not a great team, but a team with a glaring need, or loads of glaring needs, because Scarlet Knights in recent years, they've been hoodwinked, they've been robbed. Like I say, anyone great has either gone pro or hit the pole, and it's been left. Like, so there are some rooms that are barren. So when, like I say, when you draft cycle and when a team that has a glaring need, those 2 points align, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That's it. No one will be talking about in pre-season, but mid-season everyone could be like, well, that's worked really well for him.
Exactly.
And don't get me wrong, Scarlet Knights might not win many games, but he needs to be selfish. He needs to come here and just, like I say, try. If he gets 10 sacks and the team only wins 6 games, I don't think he'll care.
No.
I mean, it should, but like I say, he's there. He's got to do the best to elevate himself. He can't win games on his own. That's not a position that's possible for him. But if he can go out there and show that he is well-rounded and has done it at every level he can, then yeah, he's got the best chance of having his name called within 7 rounds next year.
And we saw Mikael Kamara make the leap from James Madison to the Big Ten last year, and he was one of the best edge rushers in the conference. Like, it translates. That James Madison coaching translates.
Good portal players.
Yeah.
James Madison will be someone that we get them ready.
Yeah.
For top 5.
Yeah, I'll have to see who's transferred in there this year because we might see them in the Big Ten next year. But yeah, certainly Eric O'Neill at Rutgers. Watch out for him in a big way this year, especially all you Big Ten fans. You will hear his name a lot if he stays healthy and does what he is capable of doing. I'll move on to the offensive side of the ball now. And we've mentioned him already, but this is a huge year for one certain quarterback who nobody is really going to know about unless they listen to this pod because we've talked about him so much. But Devin Dampier has moved from New Mexico to Utah, and I think it really went under the radar. And I know even we kind of, as a collective, went under the radar with us. New Mexico last year were actually a tremendous team from being one of the bottom feeders for so long. Like Bronco Mendenhall, the job he did there, I think it was Bronco Mendenhall who went there, was absolutely tremendous. And I remember watching this kid, Devin Dampier, in one specific game they were playing, and he was absolutely tremendous. The very definition of a true dual threat. 5'11", 204 pounds. On the ground last year, 1,184 rushing yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, going at an average of 7.4 yards per carry. That's just his work on the ground. As a passer, I mean, it was some good stuff. 2,761 yards, was only 58% completion, 12 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, yes, but this was his first year as a starter. You can kind of forgive that, and to be fair, 6 of them were in the first 4 weeks. There were 3 multi-interception games in his first 4 to start the year. I mean, they played away at Arizona, away at Auburn. Not an easy slate for him to start the year, but it kind of eased out as the season went on. But, I mean, you watch him play, right, this guy's tenacious, he's tough, and he took a bottom-feeding program and just made them incredibly dangerous. That New Mexico side, like a lot of weeks, they were putting up 40 points. They even put up 50 points one week, and you just get a feeling about a quarterback when you watch him play, when you watch how they read the game, especially that dual threat ability he has, like nearly 20 rushing touchdowns in your first season as a starter, like far more than you threw for. You expect the interceptions in the first year as a starter, you expect the growth curve there, but you go into Utah, a team that loves to run the ball, a team that will love him and his dual threat ability. He's got 2 of the best tackles in the country protecting his flanks, you know, for him to be able to be settled in a pocket, be able to get that accuracy up and a bit more. But like Dampier screams that he could be a dual threat in the NFL, with refinement in this scheme, and like one of the quarterbacks I'm looking forward to seeing most this year.
Yeah, this is one of those where it's supply and it's demand. Utah has got an offensive line. Utah needs a quarterback. He needs an offensive line because, like I say, it will help him clean up some of the protection and that it led to turnovers. Like I said, there were sloppy players, and like I say, if those tackles can, like I say, keep him upright and they can also get to the next level, and you can have like pulling guards, then the run game should stay just as good as it is. The passing numbers what will improve. That's what we're going to see this year. I think he's going to work on more the pocket passing. Like I say, use the design plays and also the escapability. Like I say, try to stay in the pocket as long as he can. Like I say, if you can try work on that, like I say, he can trust the guys in front of him, which you couldn't always do in New Mexico. Then he will gain this newfound confidence in his arm. And like I said, there's a good talent to work with. It's a big step up. But the pieces he needs right now to help him are in place. And like I said, they're relying on a guy, and they're coming off, like I say, multiple poor QBs, like I say, in relief, and they're looking for a guy. And if you're going to take a chance on someone that's inexperienced, like I say, and has got high upside and then, like I say, sloppy errors, I'm fine with that because Utah is trying to find its feet. Go take a young kid that's got loads of eligibility left, that has got things that you can tidy up. Like I say, yeah, there's sloppiness there, there's a naivety, but yeah, you can help him mature, you can help him get better at what he's not great at, and then, like I say, help him just exploit what he's doing really good now. It may not win a lot of games his first year, but that's fine. There ain't too much pressure on the Utes right now to suddenly be a 10-win team. They're going to ease him in. Hopefully it's a QB-friendly scheme. And I like to think he's going to be, if not this year, next year. He will be one of those look at, like I say, yes, he can take them where they want to go once they've bedded him in. So for me, it just fits.
Absolutely. It's such a great scheme fit here, and like he's got a big stage to work on now for such a talented guy. He is the most likely of all the prizes we've probably mentioned tonight who might not declare this year, but my only reservation is this year's class is weak as anything right now. Like, there are very few, there are no standouts in next year's quarterback class right now. Whatever they might tell you, everybody's got inconsistencies in their game, and there's no true number one just there yet. If he has a really good year, and a lot of these other guys just sort of meander and flounder, he could work his way in potentially with that dual threat ability, which a lot of these guys declaring for this year's draft are not going to have. He's going to offer a very enticing option for somebody, potentially. It is more likely 2 years, but keep an eye on. But watch Utah this year. A lot of people will be watching for Spencer Farno anyhow. Like, this is a great opportunity for Spencer Farno to show his athletic ability looking after such a dual threat QB, which he's not been able to do in the past. So, you know, it works. But yeah, Devin Dampier, quarterback, Utah. The guy's going to be a superstar. I've got no doubt about that. Got two more on here. So we got a tackle next, an offensive tackle. Kaina DeCambra. So this is Jonas Savanaya's replacement at Arizona, right? So he is transferring in from Hawaii. So one of the, you know, the guys at Hawaii they weren't able to hold on to, but I mean he's been really good for them last year. 6'3", 306 pounds. Like, Hawaii asked a lot of him. He's a 2-year starter. In 23, he was playing at right guard. Then he moved over to right tackle to end the season. And then to start last year, they moved him to left tackle. The blindside protector for Braden Shager, where he stayed all season. He got a 73 run block grade, a 74 pass block grade, just 2 sacks given up on the year, and over 600 pass blocking reps, because Hawaii are a pass heavy team. Considering how much he's had thrust on his plate very early, like, he's been really good for this team. Versatile, selfless. This is another one who he loves to maul as a runner. Say 6'3", 306. It's a great frame. Like, he's really good in pass protection. He's a great run mauler. He has the skills to become a really good NFL player. And we've seen with Savanaya coming out like that, versatility you have. He's played a few different spots. They've managed to market that a little bit, and he's got a big opportunity on an Arizona team who might bounce back. They could go to a championship game this year. So for the young guy from Hawaii, he might be on a big stage sooner rather than later. But this is a system where you feel they're really going to make this guy take the next step and potentially become a star.
Yeah, because it's probably a player that doesn't know his best position yet because he's kind of been having like chop and change and cover. That's usually not great for a guy that wants to be a tackle. You usually want some sort of like harmony. So if you can come in and you can just say like, we want you to replace this guy, that's your position. Like I say, we want you to just stay there all year. That'd be great for him. Like I say, versatile, but also like, he needs to like to get a whole year under his belt at full position. And yeah, I mean the Wildcats kind of hit rock bottom. The only kind of ways up. Like I said, they'll be expected to be one of the teams that are going to struggle and probably be pretty poor in the Big 12. Loss of talent, coaching issues. Like I said, a quarterback that I think has lost confidence. No fit last year. He looked defeated halfway through the year. I think he looked like at times like he just wanted the season to end. And now his best friend's gone into Terry McMillan. So there are a lot of things that are working against the Wildcats. But that could galvanise them. They're going to be a team this year going out to take upsets. They're going to want to have some scalps. They want a big year. You know, so going out there and getting a guy that is big, he's strong, he's great, he's physical, has got position snaps under all positions at his belt because they may need him to play multiple positions depending on how the season goes. It makes sense to go out there and get someone experienced. For him, yeah, it's a big step up in talent. I mean, just standard, like I said, Hawaii, he's jumping straight into an unpredictable Big 12. And it's a good chance for him to show that he can hang with the big boys because he's going to be coming up against some damn good defensive lines.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Like I say, when he meets like Texas Tech and that, I say he's going to be tested to the best of his abilities. And it's going to do wonders for him when people are trying to evaluate where he's going to be potentially playing as a pro.
Yeah.
So for him, it makes a lot of sense. And for them, yeah, they need reinforcements to try bounce back pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like what the future holds for this guy. And that offensive line is going to need to be good in Arizona this year. Like, it just needs to calm everything down so everything else can run smoothly. So, Kaina DeCambra, the tackle, the Hawaii transfer gone to Arizona, another to watch. And then the last I've got on this list, potentially very, very sneaky good acquisition out the portal by SMU. They lost a ton of their defensive line this year, but it was one of the best defensive lines in the country last year, which spearheaded their charge towards the ACC championship game in year one. And they've bought a very good prospect out the portal from Texas State. That is the defensive tackle Terry Webb, and JG Kinney has ensured that this guy has become an absolute monster over the last 2 years. Spent 2 years as a starter there, 39 quarterback pressures from the interior, 5 sacks, 11 hits, 23 hurries. Pressure rate took a big jump up last year. Like, he's a pass rushing threat from the interior. 37 tackles, just 5 missed tackles amongst that. The missed tackle rate's 11%, which is not bad for a defensive tackle. 22 run stops there, but he's one of those big, chunky guys in the middle. Texas State have been really good with their run defense. I know you guys struggled to knock them over last year. I know you did put some points on him eventually, but trying to run through that interior where like guys like him was very tough. Kind of had to take it to the exterior there, and this SMU side coached their defensive linemen well. 2 years starting, still relatively young. If SMU have another breakout year again, the likes of Terry Webb, they fill their boots. This is another guy who will find his name getting called by an NFL team potentially next year.
Yeah, you can never have too many chunky DTs. Like I said, at next level, you go through a lot of them. Like I said, they've got a lot of wear and tear on their body. Like I said, they're usually short guys, they're stockier guys, they're carrying a lot of weight. But this guy, he's no slouch. Like I said, he's able to win at the middle. Like I said, he's generating pressure. He's getting to the QB. He's shedding blocks. He's able to pick up, like I said, they're going to double team him. He's working with what he's got, the physical tools. And then ultimately, the bread and butter is he's physical. He's strong. He's meeting guys there and then in the hole. He's slowing them down or he's stopping them right in the tracks. He's going to have to be another guy, say, coming to the ACC where strong all run games. Like I say, he's going to come up against some really good offensive linemen, and he's going to come up against some great running backs as well as some strong downhill runners. So he's going to be tested to the best of his abilities. There's getting shedding off blocks and also continuing to do what he does best, and that is be a nuisance up the middle. Like I say, just making guys reconsider. Like, I want to bounce outside. I don't want to try go through the middle because I don't want to meet him there and then. So, and if you can pick up against some sacks against some better quarterbacks, like I said, some high level QBs in this conference, like I said, that are pretty athletic. They're good at rolling out the pocket. If he shows that even at 314, he's got a good pursuit, especially on the back end, like I say, he can show off a bit of that agility. Like I say, so it's going to be a good test for him this year against the opposition he's going to come up against, and that will hopefully bring the best out of him. So it's a good opposition. It's a team right now that, yeah, it's good time to be a Mustang. Like I say, a lot has been going right for them. They've got a good feel vibe. They've lost, yeah, a lot of talent, like I say, and they're going to be hard to replicate what they did. But bringing in experienced guys like this that's played a lot of football, a lot of snaps. He's been there, he's done it, worn the t-shirt, and now he's got his big move to now show that he can be a rotational piece and that to consider him in the later rounds of 2026. So yeah, it's a good move for him that he's earned it with just a lot of slogging.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Terry Webb, the DT at SMU this year, coming in from Texas State. 2 great years with the Bobcats. Expecting big things from him from the Mustangs as it pertains to his draft stock. So that's another one. Are there any other names you want to throw in? Because I know there's a lot of transfers coming up this year and guys who need the limelight. Are there any names you want to throw into the Power 5 sphere who's come up? I mean, does Kanye Udo count? You know, your guy is from Army.
Well, technically a Power 5, yeah. I mean, now Power 4.
Yeah, we can leave it for another time if there's no one immediately available there. But let's say there's a lot. I have a very big long shot for this. So obviously there's 5 guys who I think are going to do well. One who is potentially going to because of where he's going, and he's coming from way down the food pyramid. So if this one lands, I will look like an absolute genius. But there was one team, right, Division 2 team, quite near to where our NFL team play actually, who sent players up to the FBS this year. Talking about Ferris State being the team, and I know why we were talking about Ole Miss last year. It's not the quarterback actually, but Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback, came up to Ole Miss. That was the quarterback we were trying to think about when we were talking about their QB battle. We forgot about Trinidad Chambliss. But they also sent a running back up all the way from Ferris State to the FBS last year, and he's landed at West Virginia in the Rich Rodriguez system, which lives and dies by running the football, and he has the best name on the planet. I'm talking about Cannon Katzer. That's Cannon with a K. So Cannon Katzer last year for Ferris State played 15 games, 1,128 yards, 12 touchdowns. He's 5'9", 190 pounds. Initially declared for Washington State years ago. He's a Washington kid. Didn't work out there. He dropped all the way down to Ferris State. Played out his mind for them. He's now in the Rich Rodriguez system at West Virginia. Now, Jaheim White is the lead running back there. He's probably going to be a guy who's going to get a lot of the carries, etc. But this kid is no slouch. I mean, Chambliss is battling for that job at Ole Miss, but Katz's fighting his way potentially into that running back 2 position, and there are going to be more than enough carries to feed all these guys there. So I'm predicting potentially the junior from Ferris State, Cannon Katzer at West Virginia, is a name you're going to hear as the season goes on, especially if Jaheim White misses a little bit of time, if he gets a knock, or he's had his injury issues over the years, so no guarantee he starts all year. But just for the name alone, we'll call him Double K. But yeah, Cannon Katzer at West Virginia, he is the outside prospect potentially for this year, although it may take 2 for him. So that is everything for the first installment there of the Underdog Union. Let's just go down the names again. I know everyone's been listening for a while. Appreciate all of you for bearing with us through that. So just remind us, right, the FCS prospects you profiled for us to watch out for this year.
It's got Jaden Craig, the quarterback from the Harvard Crimson. You've got Sam Goldagoski, the outside linebacker that is at UC Davis. You've got Bryce Lance, the wide receiver from the North Dakota State Bison. And then you've also got the running back Eli Gilman from the Montana Grizz.
Yeah, great list there. And then Jaden Rashada at Sac State is sort of an honourable mention there. In terms of the group of 5 prospects to keep an eye on, so the safety Peter Manuma from the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. You got the cornerback Brian Blades II from the Florida International Panthers. You got the offensive tackle Chris Adams from the Memphis Tigers. You got the edge Kobe Stewart from Buffalo, the Bulls, and then you've got the guard center hybrid Jack Walsh from the Wyoming Cowboys, with an honorable mention to Skylar Bell, the wide receiver from the Yukon Huskies. And then in the Power 5, you've got the edge, TJ Bush Jr. of the California Golden Bears, the offensive tackle, Kaina de Cambra from the Arizona Wildcats, the quarterback, Devin Dampier from the Utah Utes, the defensive tackle, Terry Webb from the SMU Mustangs, the edge, Eric O'Neill from the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and the way out there one, the Ferris State transfer running back, Cannon Katzer, who's going to be playing for the West Virginia Mountaineers. And see, we're going to keep a very close eye on these players as seasons go on, and new players will enter the Union. Some will leave, some will join, but all of them will have one thing in common: they will be guys who will not be having attention paid towards them and their love due, but me and Ryan will make sure that they all do get their just desserts there. So that is done to end today's show. We did have one question sent in to us. So, and again, if any of the guys watching have any questions they want to ask us before we get out of here, then please do so. This is your time to shine, and I hope you've enjoyed it all this evening. We got asked on Twitter by D-Man, so I thought I would be asked this one by Brent, but no, because apparently Brent's not a big enough Michigan fan. D-Man on Twitter asks us, prediction on Bryce Underwood this upcoming year. So I'm guessing some form of maybe a stat line, the amount of wins, I mean, or just an overall prediction on what is in store for Bryce Underwood this year.
Chaos. I expect him to win games, lose games. I think he gets benched at least once. I think Mikey Keane comes in and steadies the ship multiple times. Throws plenty of touchdowns. There will be some terrible interceptions. Probably gets flagged for being unsportsmanlike conduct or something, like say being a bit brash. It seems like a hothead. I think it's going to be an incredibly mixed bag. I'm not predicting a lot of wins for Michigan. Like I said, that's not because they're a bad team. I just feel like under center, it's going to be very hot and cold this year.
Well, so a rough stat line for him. What do you reckon his rough stat line will be? We'll do a rough stat line.
I mean, they're a run-heavy school, usually. So let's say he throws 20, somewhere between like 2,200 and 2,500 yards. Let's say he throws like 15 touchdowns. But I can see like 8, 9, 10 interceptions. I imagine the touchdown interception ratio just tipping over touchdowns. I think there will be some sloppy play, especially against DBs in the Big Ten.
I'm going to go 2,200 yards thrown, 14 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and add in about another 600 yards on the ground with like 4 scores. I think he's going to have oh god, I don't know what the word is. An inconsistent first year, but I think it's going to be on the better side of inconsistent than the worst side of inconsistent. I think that's what I feel for him. So, yeah, I don't expect him to.
If he's struggling, I don't take him out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you're helping him.
Yeah.
If he's rotating with Mikey Keane 2 or 3 times, I don't think that's the way to do it. We've seen in recent years where they just keep sitting these guys and then they come back in cold and they lose confidence.
Yeah, if you're going to play him, you've got to play him in the non-cons to warm his arm up and get him used to it. But I feel like they've got a really big non-con game. Is it Oklahoma they play early on, I think? They've got a big one on early on, so I don't know if you play him in that. Maybe play Mikey Keane in that and then bring him in for the pushovers. I don't. But you've got to warm his arm up before the season starts. So I think you just either play him or you don't. You've got to make a firm thing. But $4 million a year, you kind of got to play him. So.
But yeah, you've made a commitment. You've got to play. He's going to play a lot of.
Yeah. I was just checking the Phil Steele catalogue here. He's got Michigan finishing 4th this year. He's got Penn State at number 1. I'm not ready. Penn State have hurt me enough this year. I'm not ready for that. But everyone seems to be predicting Penn State as the number 1 team in the country this year. But they've got to go to the shoe. Until they win at the shoe, not going to believe that one bit. Grandize is in the chat. He goes, question, any Arizona State predictions? Either wins, losses, or any players who could make a push to be a first or second round draft pick. So, who...
John Tyson will be a top 50 draft pick. You don't even have to put him in snap, but I think that's locked in.
And you think he'll declare this year?
Yes. After having shoulder surgery, he can't risk another year. Yeah. And to me, it ain't a great wide receiver class.
No.
He's a potential first round pick.
Yeah, next year's the killer class. You can't wait for next year when Nick Marsh, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, all that. So I think a lot of underclass wide receivers might declare this year. I agree.
ASU doesn't win the Big 12. They don't defend the title.
How many wins? What do you reckon's their win? What record would you be happy with after last year?
You've got to get to 10. You need 10 too.
And then Sam Levitt, first, second round draft pick.
See,
or are we not prepared? Are we not ready to say it just yet?
Even with a phenomenal year, I don't know. It feels like it's too early for Sam to think about the draft. But then, like you said, do you want to wait a year and then what if Arch Manning waits a year? Do you really want to go into a class of Arch Manning next year, or do you just chance this year? Because you're going like Nussmeier and Klubnik.
And Dalla.
I think Levitt's a better runner, like I said, than someone like Garrett Nussmeier. Like I say, and he's well built, great passer. I just think the pure lack of tape.
Okay.
Can't afford to miss any games this year.
No, absolutely.
I see a second round future draft pick.
Yeah. So anyone else in the ASU ranks who could crack that first couple of rounds? You reckon this year, or? I mean, could Udo with like a 1,500 yard season? Would he he's done it at Army? He's done 1,000-yard seasons there.
He can do it at ASU, like you say. He can be good enough to get the waiver and forego the. Yeah. He could be a day 3 pick.
Yeah.
And then there'll be offensive lineman, like I say. I'm pretty sure Xavier Alford is like a redshirt sophomore or junior. A good year he declares.
Yeah.
A good year last year, like you say. He's a good defensive back. He could be drafted this year.
He'll have to be on the watch out for the. Oh Christ! Which award is it now for the DBs? It's the. Is it the Jim Thorpe, the DB award? I assume he'll be on the Jim Thorpe watch list, etc. So.
I'd like to think so. Yeah, he got 2 or 3 picks last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, they're the ones. Wins, losses. He also says, "Where's Hank?" I assume Hank's hiding from the heat, but is he asleep?
He's somewhere.
Oh, he's somewhere. He's doing his thing. Hank is a free spirit. He is doing his thing, but you will see him from time to time. Brent goes, disagree. Start Bryce week 1 and ride the storm out until the playoffs. More reps, the better. Why? What's he doing in the playoffs? Is he watching other teams? Is he warming up another quarterback?
Say what? Playoffs of Michigan.
He'd be playing in the pot. Hang on, I know what he can do. When it's playoff time, he can play in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. He can meet the Pop-Tarts mascot, which is coming to... That's a great idea. Bryce Underwood and the Pop-Tarts mascot in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, if the Big Ten is eligible for it. I don't know. I don't think Michigan are making the playoffs this year. This is a new era for them this year. I
don't see them making the playoffs.
I think this is the reset year. This is where, because you've lost a lot of bona fides. You've got a lot of good talent, but I think this is the year where you just reset, and then next year I think they'll be damn good. Get Bryce's first year out the way, get the kinks out the system, get him going, get him experience, and then you really move on. I could be wrong, but I just feel like it's a year too soon for Michigan this year, and there's too many other good teams around. Illinois are the ones, I'm so intrigued by, they're the ones who've got a point to prove this year. It's make or break for Illinois. Like, you're never going to get a better chance at breaking the glass ceiling than you are this time. I don't think Michigan are quite on par with Illinois just yet, but I don't know. We'll see. Brent's laughing. We like to have a laugh with you, Brent, there. I don't think there's... Yeah, so if anyone's got any other quick questions they want to ask us before we get out of here, just let us know. I'll quickly go through all the other little bits. So next pods, main podcast will be on Monday. It's training camp preview. Training camp starts next Tuesday. So we'll be doing preview for that, and then me and Ryan obviously be back in a week as per doing something else. I don't know what yet. We're getting sort of close enough to the year now. I'm holding off on all the prediction shows and the all-star teams and that until closer to the season, because a lot can change in between then and now. So we're going to hold off on some of the bigger content until that happens. Obviously, if there's anything you guys want to see us do in the meanwhile, then do let us know. Not seeing if there's anything from the SEC media days that is noticeable, but I can have a quick look. Anything else you want to mention at the moment, Rye, college football wise?
Don't think so. Just feel like it's the calm before the storm.
It is, yeah. Oh no, the SEC side. Yeah, media days is where a lot of this stuff comes out and that. So I think next week we'll probably do a comprehensive review of all that, because we'll have had more of the teams by then. They go until about the 20th of July, something like that, and then we're on the way to fall camp. We're about 44 days away from college football now, so we've got 6 more episodes. And 6 episodes time, we're on week 0, and I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. Brent Grandizer goes, what about Kentucky? How will Kentucky do this year? Go Big Blue. Ooh, I don't know about Kentucky this year. Is Brock Vandegrift still rocking the chains there this year?
I believe he's gone.
Oh, where did he go?
They've got Zach Calzada.
Oh, of course they do.
Getting back up, yeah.
That's going to be interesting. Oh, maybe. What do we think of Zach Calzada in Kentucky then? Could this work, or is this kind of going to go the way it did with Vandegrift? Because that must have been the biggest disappointment last year, Brock Vandegrift.
I feel like Zach has to be better. Yeah, but like say you lose Barry and Brown, you lose Dane Key, you lose Maxwell Hairston, you lose Deontay Walker. Like Kentucky has been rinsed.
Yeah, and I know they've got a pair of new tackles there, but they're both from the group of 5.
I think it's safe to say you're going to have to temper your expectations. It won't be pretty in the SEC.
Yeah, I think the one good thing, they did get McKessie Grace, at South Dakota State edge. Like, I think he's going to have a really fantastic year there. But a lot of Kentucky's main transfers this year are from the group of 5, and it all depends on what Zach Calzada does. And like I say,
like you say, that redshirt freshman, he played in 4 games last year.
Yeah,
I think you just ride it out. I think you give him his shot.
Yeah, I think you do. And it says everything, like, looking at the top players for this year here, McQueese Humphrey Grace is their number 1 ranked player. He's a transfer from South Dakota State. Like, he's an FCS player, and he's already considered to be one of the best players on that team. Kind of goes to show you where the program is at right now. As I say, the new tackles, I think it's Shiazi Pete and David Gusta. Not David Gusta, who's the other one? One's from Bowling Green, one's from New Mexico. And they're both starting this year, so they could be the surprise of all surprises, but I would figure they're probably going to struggle. I mean, let's have a look at the schedule real quick. It is... so they're playing... Ooh, hang on, can I get the list in a proper list here, or do I have to... So it's listing the likely wins here for them. They're playing Eastern Michigan, Tennessee Tech, and Toledo at home. Their schedule is at Auburn, Florida, at Louisville, Ole Miss, at South Carolina, Tennessee, at Vanderbilt, at Georgia, versus Texas. I mean, oof.
They're not winning many of them.
Oof. Georgia, Texas, South Carolina are the form team this year. Auburn are meant to be much better. Florida are going to be the dark horses. Louisville and Miller Moss, you're going there. Vanderbilt, you've got Pavia and Eli Stowers back. Tennessee, I mean, good God. I can see so their win total is 6.5. I'd go under that. Like, completely go under that. Like, they ain't winning 7 games
to
on
win
that
the
schedule.
cupcakes, they're what, 3-0?
Yeah.
The other 3.5 wins. Right, okay, they'll probably beat Ole Miss because we know how disappointing they are.
If Kentucky wins 7 games next year, I'll wear a Michigan shirt live on air. Let's do that, eh? I'm willing to...
Yeah, that'd be a pretty damn good season with UB that, probably past his best, and like the other one's just an inexperienced kid.
Yeah. You can bookmark that, Brent. If Kentucky go on the over on their wins this year, I'll wear a Michigan shirt on here. I'm very confident that they are not going to do that. Mile Marker goes 21 days till the Hall of Fame game. Yes, it's very close. We're going to be there soon. Brent goes, go Army. Army in a good position this year. Think they're doing well. Mile Marker goes, I'm looking forward to the episodes. I'm learning. Oh, good. That's what we like. Hopefully you learn from us, and we always learn as well. So we just hope you find them enjoyable. That's why we do all this sort of stuff, and we appreciate you all hanging around with us. So, yeah, I think we're going to call this and get out of here for today. Don't think there's anything else on the books. So, as I say, we're going to be back on the main podcast on Monday talking about training camp. And next week, we'll be talking further about media days, and we'll probably do some more profiling and that as well. So, as always, you know where to find us. If you want to ask us anything, you can do. We will do any research you want us to do for these things. Because we appreciate you all. Roar of the Lions UK is where you can find us all over the internet. roarofthelionsuk.com, the website, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Just type us in, you will see our lovely faces. Just remains for me to thank Rye. Appreciate everything as always. My grandizer quickly goes, question, any love for the University of Hawaii? Yes, we have given love to Hawaii tonight. We've talked about two of their players, so a lot of love for Hawaii here. And on that, we are signing out. One Pride. See you soon.